Wondery Plus subscribers can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello and welcome to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Petrogallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Westman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us today. We are excited, as we always are, for Crime and Sports. Going to have some fun today with another crazy. This one actually is death-defying. We'll say there's some defied death and some undefied death. Some death that did not go defied.
Somebody that refused to defy.
There's some people. Yeah, this is an interesting episode. We're gonna have a good time with it, though. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna have a good time and all that. But first of all, got to thank everyone for your iTunes / Apple Podcast, whatever the hell they are, reviews this week. The little purple icon. Thank you so much for that. Those mean a lot to us in the show because they help drive us up the charts, which is kind of a big deal.
It's kind of the point of this.
It's kind of how you're measured as far as what your interaction is and blah, 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 all that good stuff. So if you could do that, help us out in the business and give us 5 stars. Doesn't matter what you say. It's not for our egos. Just tell us you're following instructions, following directions. We're happy and thrilled as shit with that. So thank you guys so much for doing that. You can do more if you want. If you want to get more involved with the show, that is definitely possible. You just go to shutupandgivememurder.com and there you can find everything crime and sports and small town murder related and all the t-shirts and the merch and all that good stuff. You can find links to social media. You can find links to live shows, tickets to our live small town murder shows come out. This week we're in Atlanta and then Minneapolis and then Denver, closing out the weekend. We're doing the East Coast in December there. It's ridiculous. So check those out.
Also, real quick point, if you go to that website and you're looking for tickets and then you don't see them and then you go somewhere else and find them there, don't fucking use that site. Only go to our site, get them from there. Our site, and if they aren't there, they're not available anymore.
Or if you...
I don't want you guys getting take advantage of.
Because we've had people that have bought tickets from scalpers and gotten kind of screwed over.
And the tickets don't even exist.
They don't exist. So we have nothing to do with that, but still we're sorry that happened.
They're gone.
Kind of fucking cool that people would scalp tickets of ours and make fake tickets and make that's like a business.
It's pretty wild.
It's terrible and awful for the people and for everybody else, but it's also kind of a cool thing.
It's pretty wild.
At the same time that would happen.
Somebody
cool.
recognizes us as someone.
Hey, look at that.
They can phony up some tickets.
We can fraud people and make money off of these guys. Perfect. So that's a compliment in a way, in an odd backhanded way.
And at the same time, I'd love to kick that person.
Yeah, and I'd also like to kick them in the dick.
Their asshole.
Go, that was pretty cool, but fuck you. You're a dick.
I like your slimy moves, you peckerhead.
Dickhead. So you can do all of that. Also, if you want to donate to the show, that is highly possible and easily done through shutupandgivememurder.com. You can follow the links there under the donate to patreon.com/crime and sports. It'll also, you can get a link there to PayPal and use our email address, which is crimeandsports@gmail.com. And you can make a one-time donation there at PayPal or make donations. Every cent's appreciated. And we really do thank the hell out of you guys for everything you do for us. Thank you guys. It's awesome. And we can't wait to see you at live shows. You should get your asses out there. We're planning on trying to get some crime and sports live shows going at some point. So don't worry about that. That's coming, but let's get to this crime and sports show right now. Because it's an interesting one.
Great.
We're doing last week we were across we didn't know where the hell we were. It was another time, another place, the sport, the location, and the time. We were out of our element in all of them. So it was, I felt like I was dancing on hot coals the whole time, just trying not to get English town and street names wrong and figure out what the hell, racing things he was doing and then figure out a goddamn giant train robbery. Last week was a mess when it came to that. So
It's pretty cool how many people were actually reading a book about it, watching a show about it.
That was cool, yeah.
And then they listen to the show and they're like, I'm in the middle of this right now.
It's cool that people responded to it. I'm glad they liked it. It was a tough one to research and to put together and figure out what the hell was going on. This one's more in our wheelhouse. Right. This is 90s basketball.
Great.
In our wheelhouse. And there's honestly not too much sports involved in this one. We'll make fun of some CBA teams' names and stuff like that, and there's some crime. Let's get into it.
What did Cedric Ceballos do?
It's not Cedric Ceballos. I would have a hard time doing an episode on Cedric Ceballos because I met him and he's such a fucking nice guy.
He's a lovable man.
He's such a nice guy. I see him treat people. People come up to him. He treat everybody great. He'd treat a fat bald guy the same as he would a hot 23-year-old girl. He treats him exactly the same. Like he's a really nice guy. It'd be hard to do that.
And he's a great father too. His daughter's great at basketball. And he's helping her. And he's coaching her.
If he messed up a couple times, it's like, hey, he's a good guy. I kind of know. As I'm sure a lot of people would be. If I knew them, it would be hard to do episodes on them. It's why you haven't seen a Lawrence Taylor episode yet. Not because I know him at all, but because I can't be unbiased. I'm going to be on his side. I'm on his side, goddammit, and I'm going to make excuses for him and tell you how wonderful he is. So that's not a good episode. We're going to do it eventually anyway, and Jimmy's going to have to keep me in line and be like, James.
I'll keep you honest.
James, come back.
Come on now.
Come on.
He's a scumbag.
Now, how much crack did he have that day? Seriously.
How old was she?
How old was she, James? Old enough, Jimmy.
How old's your daughter, James?
So, oh, man. So let's get into this guy, though. Let's get into it. Is Charles Edward Smith.
Oh, no, I know all about Charles Smith.
Okay, which one? Charles Edward Smith the fourth.
Oh, Jesus.
This is a junior squared. This is bad news. From the beginning, bad seed. You had to, from the start, you have this guy pegged. It's no good. Teacher should have been like, no good. Put him in the back of the class.
On the Knicks?
No, that's what I'm saying. Okay. I knew you were gonna. Everybody's gonna go, oh yeah, Charles Smith, the guy who can't hit a fucking layup in the playoffs with 5 opportunities of. I'm 6'11" and the basket's right there, but I can't put it in there.
But he can drain a 3 in garbage time when it doesn't matter.
He was Jesus, not that Charles Smith, not the Charles Smith everybody thinks about in basketball. Kind of a big, I don't know,
skinny, lanky,
kind of his
small
face,
forward, right?
Kind of a Easter Island head looking guy, like a big, got a big square, just a big kind of flat square face.
And then he fucked that up with a flat top on top.
Yeah,
of
making it look taller. You're trying to be taller. When he came in the league, though, everyone had a flat top. That was just the way you did things.
But when you have that square block head, you don't block it off with that shit.
This is a different Charles Smith, and we'll talk about. Believe me, he'll come up the other Charles Smith because imagine being him. Like, no, God damn it, my name's common enough as it is. And by the way, when you research a guy named Charles Smith,
oh, for Christ's sake,
wow, is it not easy? Because you know how many people get arrested that are named Charles Smith? A fuckload, just a shitload, because there's a shitload of people named Charles Smith. So just a lot of them are getting arrested for everything, everywhere.
Bed Puddle's dad, Charles Smith.
Everyone's Charles Smith. Not the fourth, though. I bet. No, this guy, double junior squared here, born November 29th, 1967. He's from Washington, D.C., and he grows up in Washington, D.C. in the 70s, and as you can imagine, not a great time or place, and there's very little really out there about his childhood, and oddly enough, any detail, it's just kind of vague, whatever, because he didn't really get that famous, so nobody really chronicled what he did. But I'm sure, Jesus, I don't know if you had some, because he went to Georgetown eventually. I'm sure there's some Georgetown profile, whatever, from 1985 that I can't fucking find. But it's hard to grow up in DC. It's like his whole life was like a movie with a Curtis Mayfield soundtrack. I have a feeling if you grew up in the 70s, just all this fucking Superfly and Pusher Man coming out every window, and it's a lot going on.
Humming Shaft.
It's a lot. Yeah. So
he probably. He's in DC at the same time Dave Chappelle was there. Of growing up.
Yeah, about that time period. Yeah, it's a terrible. DC was.
It's a bad time to be there.
Any of the major East Coast cities in the 70s just experienced a deterioration like crazy. People fled, and it just turned into a mess.
That crack epidemic ruined.
Then crack came in the 80s and fucking really clubbed it over the head. But in the 70s, it was heroin, and then it was crack in the 80s. And coke came in the 70s too. But any of DC, New York was a fucking disaster. Remember the Ford to New York dropped dead on the fucking thing. Like they weren't going to give him any funding. Philly turned into a fucking mess.
Yeah.
Watch Rocky 1.
Yeah.
That's what Philly looked like in 1977, man. That they filmed that shit on location, and you're like, wow, that looks like
gross.
No one lives there. That's the neighborhood, kind of like on The Wire.
Ah, Jesus.
It's like the neighborhood that they cleared out to make drugs legal because no one lived there anymore, and it didn't matter. They were like, fuck it, this is Amsterdam.
Oh, I almost called it Gerbilville.
Yeah, Gerbilville. Yeah, not Amsterdam. Like Amsterdam.
I got it.
With cops. So ham. Yeah, Gerbilville. Gerbilville, where drug dealers are king. Come down to Gerbilville.
I just remembered you said hamster, and I was like, all right.
Gerbil,
I remember it. Very small marsupial.
Very tiny. That's great.
Okay.
So, yeah, he grows up in D.C., plays ball. He's not a big guy either. This is the other thing. He's a guy he's got to have skills because he's 6'1", 160, full grown. So he's not a guy that on the court they're like, damn, he's 6'8", and he's got to be, I mean, he's just an average guy. Like he's got to have some real skills to make any hay for himself here. And he grows up in D.C., goes to All Saints High in D.C., where he's a star there, obviously. If this story has any legs, he's gonna be a star in high school. It's not like, he wasn't that great.
Right.
Played JV up in, only at varsity for a senior year, kind of a bench guy. And, he's got to be a star in high school. And he is a star. We don't have any stats from this, but we don't need high school stats. He scored 38 points a game against white kids from the Virginia suburbs. Great. That's terrific.
And there he's legit dunking on them.
Good for him.
Those kids are helping him.
Yeah,
they're lifting him up.
We've never seen a dunk in real life. So he's a point guard, obviously. There's really no other position on the floor that a 6'1" player could play.
Right.
Honestly, with much, I don't know.
Gusto.
I don't know of any 6'1" small forwards or anything like that. No. So you're limited in your positions.
And in that time, 6'1" as a power forward, you'd have your head hanging out of your asshole all entire game.
You'd be in other guys' assholes because they're 6'11" and your head only comes up to it. So.
You're getting blocked a lot. You're getting very few rebounds.
You're getting 6'1", 160. Yeah. Jeez, Charles Barkley swings his big fat ass at you. You're gonna end up in the third fucking row
with a dislocated hip.
You got to have some weight to you, some gravitas to withstand that sort of shit, man.
Was Charles, was he 6'8" or 6'6"?
No, he's 6'4". That's what's insane about him.
That's what I was thinking, that he was small.
Greatest small rebounder in the history of the NBA.
That's pretty incredible.
Even the other guys, they always give Rodman so much credit because they're like, he's like 6'8", 6'9", but he's not a 7-footer. But he's like 6'8", 6'9", Rodman. Yeah, but he was a most amazing rebounder I've ever seen. But
he was
he's
just
at least
more agile too.
He just had he could see if the ball, when it's in the air, he knew exactly where it was coming on. Just some guys can do that. Yeah. They just have a weird thing. And he was a hustler too. He'd hustle. But Barkley, 6'4", getting rebounds like he did is the most incredible. I've met Charles Barkley. We're eye to eye. He's the same fucking size as me, except 2 of me wide and 2 of me thick.
Right.
He's just a big son of a bitch.
He is deep.
Yeah, but he's the same height. I was like, whoa, you're not that tall. Holy shit. That's the first thing I thought. I was, I thought you were taller. Not taller. So he grows up here. He ends up being recruited, and this is like from D.C. This is a dream, man. Because if you grow up in D.C., especially in shit D.C., and if you're growing up in D.C., think about this. He's born 1967, so he's a teenager in the early 80s when Georgetown, the local college, is the fucking biggest thing in the world.
Powerhouse.
Patrick Ewing is there. They're going to finals and Final Fours. They're a monster.
They really are.
They're like the biggest thing in everyone. I was like 4 years old and I was a huge Georgetown fan.
Sure.
So, I mean, like anybody who saw them, they were on ESPN all the time, would be excited about that. So he ends up being recruited by John Thompson at Georgetown, which, like I said, giant deal for a kid from D.C. Now, before he got there, this is 84-85 Georgetown. The season before that, they were fucking dominant. They were 35-3.
Holy shit.
Which is absolutely dominant, and they lost in the finals to Villanova.
Okay.
That was the crazy upset Villanova final. That was insane. Like that.
They were team didn't matter.
They were a number 8 seed.
But
Villanova.
I mean, later on, did that team have many great players that came off?
Georgetown?
No, Villanova.
No, that's what I mean. Right. It was the strangest thing in the world that they won. That was not supposed to happen. It was 66-64 too in the final game. It was crazy. But that year, under John Thompson, they breezed through kicked the shit out of Lehigh, Temple, Loyola, Georgia Tech, and St. John's in the tournament before finally losing. Yeah. We're talking Patrick Ewing. King is the center of that team. Yeah. David Wingate, who we will have an episode on, by the way. David Wingate. He was almost this episode.
Really?
It was a toss up between between Wingate, Wingate, Charles Smith, and Chris Washburn.
Oh,
and I went with Charles Smith this time. We're going to go with those two down the road a little bit, or maybe our next two basketball.
That bums me out about
episodes.
Wingate. I loved watching him. He was so good.
He was good. Yeah, there's some teenage girls that might disagree with you. We'll talk about it another time.
Good.
No, not great. You wouldn't, not your kind of guy.
Okay.
You're going to go, he's my kind of guy. Let's not go crazy, Jimmy.
He wore that teal and purple. I liked him.
Yo, I get it, man. I get it. But yeah, this is a dominant team the year before. Mm-hmm. He gets recruited that year. No more Patrick Ewing. So now we're talking Reggie Williams is the high scorer of the team, who's a forward. David Wingate is the second highest guy on the team. So, they have guys like Horace Broadnecks, who,
You've never heard of him.
Never. That's a deep cut. Yeah. Horace Broadnecks. Horace Broadnecks sounds like a guy who's doing like a commercial for a local insurance company who in the market that someone would know. Hi, I'm Horace Broadnecks. Right. I play 83 to 86 Georgetown, it says under him. I played in a national championship beside a guy named Patrick Ewing. You may know him as a big star. Well, here, you're the only big star over at Broadnecks Insurance.
You're a bigger star than me.
Over at Broadnecks Insurance, you're a bigger star than I am. And you know what? Everyone is. Who isn't? I'm Horace Broadnecks. You ever heard of me? Fuck no. And you love the Hoyas. That's going to be our new characters, Horace Broadnecks. He knocks on the door, and they go, who the fuck are you? They don't even know who he is.
And he goes, you're right.
And he has to explain it every time. Horace Broadnecks, that's, I have to make Horace Broadnecks music, but Horace Broadnecks is going to be our next guy, because that's
just
amazing.
Benny Hill music.
Horace.
Fucking yakety sax behind Horace Broadnecks.
Oh, you know it, man. Jesus. I need to come up with some non-copyrighted Benny Hill music now.
Horace Broadnecks is a B cut from the album way after. Way after they should have quit.
Definitely. Oh, Horace Broadnecks. After the bass player left and Horace Broadnecks came in. Guns N' Roses was never the same after Horace Broadnecks started playing bass.
He's the rhythm guitarist after Lynyrd Skynyrd's plane crash.
Oh, that's good. They brought in Broadnecks. And then he went to Guns N' Roses later after Duff left, right? Is that what happened? Is that how it works? Oh, no, this is the Horace years. These are terrible. I don't like this album. It all went to shit when Horace came in. No, he was the one who said November Rain should be 14 minutes long. That was his fault. It's all Horace Broadnecks.
Plays a vicious triangle.
He's amazing. So we should give Horace Broadnecks a little. Horace Broadnecks is a 6'1" guard who in 85-86 averaged 7.5 points, 2.3 rebounds, 1.8 assists per game.
Just a shade more stats than I've got.
That's it. Just a bench guy, man. Just straight bench, man.
That is a bummer.
Yeah, that's one of those where the starters are the starters, and that they're playing most of the minutes for Georgetown.
I hope he got a first-rate fucking education.
Oh, well, Georgetown's a great college.
That's my point. I hope he graduated.
If you go to your classes, he was a senior this year, so he went all 4 years. We don't know if he graduated or not, but I mean, shit, you got a degree from Georgetown. You can open up your own insurance agency, Broadnecks Insurance. I'm going to find a town in Maryland that it's in also. Broadnecks Insurance, so-and-so Maryland, and that's going to be our... How you doing? Pardon me? I'm Horace. They sent me here because you're fucking up. Remember? Yeah. They said to ask, how is it you've... Well, how is it? I mean, are you set for the future? Do you have life insurance?
Tell you what, Horace. Pray tell, who the fuck are you?
Horace. Pray tell, Horace. Let me ask you.
Who the fuck are you?
We have been going off lately on a pray tell binge where we just ask each other.
My favorite.
Whenever anybody says pray tell, it's usually like a Southern woman who doesn't believe what you're going to say, who thinks you're lying to her.
Whatever you're about to tell her is all bullshit.
Pray tell you had my daughter home at 10 o'clock last night. It's one of those things, like, that she was out fucking in the cornfield. So, if we use pray tell, it's just leaking out. Real life is leaking into the show, because that's what we do. We walk around airports going, pray tell, talking shit about fucking airlines and people and shows and things. Oh, Christ. So,
all right.
All right, Horace Broadnax aside, Charles Smith averaged 3 points, 1 rebound, 0.8 assists that year. So he's a freshman. I mean, Jesus, not much expected from him. They probably let him play 3 minutes a game or something. What did he average here? Minutes per game, 8.1. Okay. So, I mean, he's not playing at all. They're just get him in there, make sure he doesn't, throw up and slip and fall down in it, basically.
We'll get our starting guard a fucking rest.
Yeah, get his feet wet, let him see what it's like to play in front of, on national television in front of a shitload of people. And it was Georgetown, tons of attention back then.
People are paying attention.
That's the thing, too. If you're coming in off, you're a kid that kind of grows up, whatever, of limited means and that sort of thing, and you're thrust into Georgetown, that's the year after Patrick Ewing left and all that. It's like, whoa, that is the spotlight, man. I mean, that's huge. But this year, Georgetown does decent, 24-8, which isn't that big of a letdown after Ewing leaves. Right. I mean, that's a big deal. He was kind of a force in college. He was ridiculous in college.
He somehow figured it out through from college all the way through his career. He was to just matter in every fucking game.
He was good, but in college, he was just nobody was that big.
Right.
And he's just so big in college. His wingspan, he would just be swatting shit left and right.
And
you just couldn't get a shot off on him.
You could be physical.
Oh, back then, too.
And what does that guy have to lose? Look at his face.
Look at him.
He doesn't care.
He doesn't give a shit.
He doesn't give a fuck what you throw at him.
Got a sheen of sweat on him that's never can't be penetrated.
No.
But now that Georgetown team, they were crazy. They would fucking throw down. They would start fight. I mean, they were just a take no shit kind of they were great to watch, man. They were awesome. So that year, though, 24-8, like we said, John Thompson's still there, obviously. They go to the tournament as the number 4 seed in their bracket or whatever. They win in the first round, 70-64 versus number 13 seed Texas Tech, and then they lose in the second round to Michigan State, who's the number 5 seed. It's 80-68 too. So that's kind of a disappointment for Georgetown fans, and
not even close.
Not even close. No. Yeah, for Georgetown, they were on this high for like the last 3 years, and then they're like, oh, we lost.
Whoops-a-daisy.
Shit. Second round, not even Sweet 16. No. Like, can't even get there. 86-87. They are 29-5. So that's climbing the ladder again. That's pretty goddamn good under John Thompson. Obviously, again, they go to the tournament, number 1 seed in the Southeast bracket, Southeast, whatever the fuck it is there, that year. They win in the first round. They blow out the number 16 seed. Sure. They should blow them out. Bucknell. Oh. You should beat the shit out of Bucknell.
Bucknell should just be thankful they were ever fucking...
Yeah, hey guys. They just give a lot of thank you hand. That line up and shake hands at the end of the game is genuine. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. This is a real treat. I learned a lot today. Learned a lot about basketball and life in general. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
I'm going to change my major. Going to definitely get an education now.
Thanks for the thumping. Appreciate it. So, Bucknell.
You guys really changed the course of my life.
You know what? I'm going to look back on this day when I'm asked. A job interview, they're going to say, were there any moments that are significant in your life? Actually, yes.
Yeah, I can tell you one.
Getting crushed 75-53 in the first round of the NCAA tournament by Georgetown, by better basketball players. They win the second round. They beat Ohio State, who's the number 9 seed. They beat them 82-79. So Close. Shit's getting closer. Yeah. Then they go to the next round is versus Kansas, which I believe this is Danny Manning's senior year at Kansas, or it might be the year he went into the NBA. I'm not sure. Okay. Either way, number 5 seed Kansas, and they win. Georgetown beats them 80-57.
Look at this.
So this is now we're doing something. Facing number 6 seed Providence in the next round, and Providence not a. They're weird. They're spotty. They go from they'll have like resurgences now and then, but there's a lot of inconsistency and white guys that shoot 3-pointers. Right. There's a lot of that going on. Not a lot of slashing through the lane from Providence. It's going to be a lot of pass that ball around, get that open shot, which works for them.
It does.
And a lot of times in the tournament, you'll get a team that's great, athletic, and they crush people that way, and you'll get one of these Providences or a Princeton or a Penn that comes in and they have this very precise passing game, and they shoot a lot of threes. And if they have a hot day shooting threes, they end up winning.
Ball game.
It happens in tournaments. It's happened a bunch of times.
And now it happens in the fucking NBA.
It happens in the NBA. That's true. But now it happened here, and Georgetown loses 88-73.
Oh, no.
So they get their ass kicked by Providence, which is not okay.
That team. I can see their jersey, and I can see all those fucking mess of letters on the front. They really got to take a simple mascot and just put, like, bull, something on their chest, because Providence is far too many letters to to go from armpit to armpit.
Bullshit. Some of these colleges they have something, and then state afterwards. Like, Jesus Christ.
They got to put that shit underneath.
Yeah, blah, 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 state with a thing, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's too much, man. Yeah. This year, though, for Charles, he plays in 33 games, starts 2 games, so he's a sophomore, so they're, easing him in, plays 15.6 minutes per game, so that's almost double his minutes.
Yeah.
So they're easing him in. John Thompson knows how to turn over the roster anyway. He's done that a few times. This year, he averages 6.7 points per game, 1 assist, 1.1 steals, which is pretty good, and 1.5 total rebounds. So point guard, little guy, and he's coming into it. He's starting to get there. 87-88 Georgetown season, not so good. This is the worst season they've had in a while.
Really?
20-10, which is still fine. 9-7 in the Big East, which isn't terrific in your conference. That's rough there.
That'll keep you out of the tournament.
That'll keep you. They make the tournament. They're the number 8. They're 20-10. So
really,
yeah, they're the number 8 seed.
Losing that many games in your own conference, though.
Yeah, they get there though. They're still Georgetown too, and this is a selection process, and they're not going to pay. It's
a good point.
Yeah, they're the number 8 seed too, so it's not even like they're a 15 seed or anything.
There's very little math involved in that fucking tournament bracket shit. I mean, there's a little bit.
There's some, and then there's also, hey, we like Georgetown.
That team, right?
So
they sell a lot of shit.
It happens. Yeah, this could be good for us. So they win in the first round. Okay. They play Louisiana State, who's a number 9 seed, and they win 66-63. So good for them. Yeah. That's not bad against LSU. Yeah, that is a close. Was that the year before Shaq got there? I think possibly at LSU. I'm not positive.
What year was it?
87, 88.
Yeah, it was before
I think it was
him.
the year Shaq got there. And then the next round, they play number 1 seed Temple. Okay. And this game is not pretty. It is 74-53. They kick the shit out of the Hoyas. Yeah. And that's an ugly way to get out of the tournament. At least you're losing to the number 1 seed. Yeah. You're not losing to Providence. But still, that's an ass kicking and not advisable for, I'm sure that if you're John Thompson, you're not thrilled at all with this.
That's losing some folks their jobs.
Yeah, that's losing. Well, it's college basketball, so if you have a coach that's entrenched, they're fine.
But I mean, the coach is fine, but there's some other folks are going away.
Yeah, and there's some. It's just it just deflates the whole thing. Sure. That Georgetown, they were living on in sports anyway. They were living on that. Academically, it's another thing, but they were living on that whole basketball thing for a few years there, and now it's crashing down slightly. 87-88 on the floor for Charles. 30 games played. Starts 16 games now.
Okay.
So now he's coming into his own. 29 minutes a game, which is a shitload. Yeah. He's playing a lot here. He ends up with 15.7 points per game, which is fantastic. 3.3 rebounds, 2.5 assists. I'd like to see a little more out of your point guard, but
see him making some shots.
That's fine. Yeah,
creating.
Yeah, he seems to be more of a scorer here with the 15.7 points. That's a lot in college.
It is.
That's a ton.
It's kind of a lot in the NBA too. I mean,
that's decent.
It's average,
mid range, but
you expect Tim Hardaway's making people
score.
Right.
Yeah, you're a good scorer if you're scoring averaging 15-7 a game. And he averages 2.4 steals a game, which is phenomenal. Yeah. That's really good. He's always a good defender. He's a sticky little defender. Right. He's not too shabby. And he's so good that that year, the 88, in 1988, John Thompson is in charge of the Olympic team.
Oh, boy.
And picking the team for the Olympics. And this guy's hustling, and he's working hard, and he's good to have on the floor, and John Thompson chooses Charles Smith to be on the Olympic team.
How about this?
Now, this is before we used to send professionals. This was when it was still amateurs. Right. So this is the last non-dream team.
Okay.
So you'll never hear a word about this team ever, because then the next one had Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. Every 15 of the top 50 all-time players were on that fucking team, basically.
The Barcelona team.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
In '88, they sent some pros too.
No pros.
Seoul.
No pros.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no, it's all college guys. I got them right here.
So they just weren't in the NBA yet.
They weren't in the. Yeah, they were all going to be in
yeah,
the like. Here's the team that year. It was Mitch Richmond, who's a Sacramento, was a star for years. Charles Smith,
from the Hawks too.
Bimbo Coles, who played forever. Hersey Hawkins,
that's the one.
Hersey Hawkins, Jeff Grayer, who I remember him actually. Charles D. Smith, the other Charles Smith.
Gotcha.
Stacy Augman, who
that's the
the
one
Hawks,
I was thinking of.
Willie Anderson, who again we'll do an episode on him of the Spurs.
Yes.
No, that's Greg Cadillac Anderson. Sorry, different guy. Sorry,
but that guy also played for the Spurs. Willie Anderson.
I think so. And Willie Anderson, I think he got busted for coke too.
Oh boy.
We'll figure it out. There's a lot of Andersons and Smiths, and it's tough when they're on the same team. Dan Marley on this team.
Really?
Yeah, Dan Marley. This was the year right before he was drafted. Danny Manning on this team, so he was on that Kansas team. And J.R. Reed on that team, who was really good for a lot. And finally, David Robinson.
Wow.
The Admiral here.
That's
who was
a great team.
Also on the 92 team.
Yeah,
he's the only guy on here that's also on that team.
Interesting.
And then later on, the 96 team, Mitch Richmond, I think, is on that. I think Dan Marley might be on that.
Stacey Augman might be
sure.
too.
Yeah, there's a few of these guys on that team too.
Stacey Augman was so good.
He was really good. Yeah, especially in college. He was nasty. But the team in the 88 Olympics, this is in Seoul, by the way, the Seoul Olympics. We've discussed certain Olympics before, 88
Seoul's
Olympics.
come up a few times.
Seoul's come up a few times here. We'll only talk about basketball then, so we won't get into the other shit. Listen to the past episodes of people who participated in the 88 Olympics. I think, what's his name? The British James Waith? The British...
The
guy
jumper?
No. The guy who tried to...
that was Nayuk.
He tried to... he tortured a man with a toaster.
Oh, Jesus.
And all of that. Remember the British guy? He was a fighter in the Olympics, and then he was like an enforcer for a drug gang.
Jesus.
It was the 88 Olympics. I don't know if it's winter or summer. Then. I'm not sure. But then it wouldn't be 88. They have them in the same year? No, they have them every 2 years. They're staggered. So
winter is every 2.
So he was in this one then because it was 88. Anyway.
Wait, winter is not every 2. It's just 2 years after
It's
summer.
2 years after summer. Yeah. Wow, that'd be way too much fucking Olympics.
That'd be a lot of Olympics.
Every 2 years is still too much Olympics for me. It's just too much Olympics. I don't need any Olympics.
I don't watch the winter ones.
I don't watch any of them. I don't care about that.
Really?
There's not a sport there I watch. Why would I watch that?
Summer ones are fun.
What do you like about them?
I like the swimming ones.
Why?
I like swimming. I like the basketball. I like the fucking gymnastics stuff is great.
I wouldn't watch.
I like
gymnastics.
the stories.
Gymnastics is on all the year. They have it on
I like
ESPN
to watch for the bullshit
morning.
storyline that they construct that is all fucking bogus.
I can't fucking take the piano music in the background showing how their mother had to work 3 jobs while their grandmother had to get out of her wheelchair to drive her at 4 o'clock in the morning to the ice rink so she could practice every fucking day before school, before she had to take an hour and a half bus back to school and then climb to school up in snow both ways uphill.
And then they show the American kid, and this kid's like, we just got him off of Fortnite to play right now.
It's fine. He's fine. It's fucking ridiculous. I can't take it.
We had to cut the power on the fucking Xbox to get that kid to come in.
Yeah. He's playing for his young daughter who's on a respirator for the last 6 months, and it's fucking enough. I can't take it anymore. And then they show people competitively fucking, swimming and twirling and shit. I'm like, I can't watch this.
The diving is dumb. There's a bunch of them that I just can't watch. But I love the storylines, and I love watching. Listen, arrogantly, I love watching the U.S. just mop up shit countries.
Do we do that still? I don't even know.
Yes,
okay,
on a consistent basis.
And basketball,
it's like who expects them to beat the people that have all the money and all the best equipment to? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
these poor
that's
countries.
True.
It's like why are they here? Really?
Well, they're allowed to participate.
We
beat Russia in 1980 in hockey, and we had no business doing that.
These countries were training with some shit objects.
Listen.
And now you've got...
I know very little about this subject. All I do know really is from Cool Runnings.
Yeah, that's my point.
And when a team is underfunded and it isn't their regular deal, it's not usually successful.
No,
let's just say that.
It's not.
You're going to end up with that, which they were happy to finish a race.
Right.
So
the ones that I do like watching is the running and watching every other country just show us how it's done.
You will attract John Candy, though. That's the thing. So there's advantages to it, the whole thing. There's advantages, there's disadvantages.
I want him to come back. Keep these Olympics going. Maybe it'll bring him back.
This is how long ago this is. This is what a difference 30 years makes. Russia, the Soviet Union, actually, not even Russia. The Soviet Union wins gold medal in basketball.
Wow.
That happened? That happened this year. Alexander Volkov, Teat, T-I-I-T. A man's name is T-I-I-T, and his last name is S-O-K-K.
Oh,
Teat
no.
Sock. Teat Sock kicked our ass.
They for sure called that guy Tit Sock.
Tit Sock. Hey, Titty Sock, get your ass over here. Yo, Titty Sock. Where Titty Sock at?
Oh, Jesus.
Sergei Tarannikov, Igor Miglenieks, Valery Tikhonolenko, Jesus, Remus Kurtaneus. This is fucking a lot, man. A lot of Victors with K's.
K's, yeah.
All sorts of shit here. Alexanders with no X.
With a K and an I.
and an E and an S. It's all messed up. And then silver, I'll let you guess any country in the world that won silver that year.
Cambodia.
But Yugoslavia.
Is that right?
They're not even a fucking country anymore, and they beat us in basketball 30 years ago. Not even, they're fucking, neither's the Soviet Union,
Right.
but that's mainly Russia.
Yeah.
Yugoslavia, not a country, and they beat us in basketball.
Is Cambodia a country? Is that a city?
That's a country.
Okay.
But they did have a couple NBA guys. They had Drazen Petrovic.
I was going to say, I think Drazen was on that team.
Tony Kukoc is on
All
that
right.
team, and Vlade Divac is also on that team. So they had three future NBA
starters.
stars there. So yeah, that at least explains that. I've never seen or heard of any of these Russian guys.
And they got second?
They got second. They were silver medal, and then U.S. takes the bronze.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
1988-89 season. They're back in Georgetown now. They go 29-5.
Okay.
So they're back on top, man. That's pretty goddamn good. 29-5. They have, well, there's a reason why, because before the roster was a little thin. All of a sudden now, they have the Twin Towers in the game, and it's a little bit different if you don't know what that is. If you didn't grow up in that time, that is Alonzo Mourning and Dikembe Mutombo on the same team and being played at the same time. And they're NBA stars. Mutombo 7'2", Mourning 6'10". They're both centers, and they're both star NBA centers, and they were on the same team at the same time in college.
Really good.
Really good and really frightening if you're a opposing team.
Sure.
Nobody has 2 7-footers in the middle.
If you're under 6'2" and driving the lane, that is disturbingly frightening.
Yeah, so they have a pretty good year that year, like we said. And Mourning's a freshman, Mutombo's a freshman, so they're kids.
They got him a while now.
They got him, yeah. They're kids, but they're still contributing. Mourning is a freshman at 13.1 points and 7.3 rebounds a game. So
it's easy at that point.
That's pretty impressive. Yeah. Through the tournament, they first round, they played number 16 seed Princeton, because they're number 1 seed Georgetown, and they beat Princeton. Princeton's another one of those scary teams where you got to be careful. They beat Princeton 50-49.
Wow.
So Princeton they slow it down. They pass. They use the whole shot clock. They brought their scores down to. I mean, they averaged 80 points a game that year, Georgetown,
and they
scored 50 against Princeton, which is a lot less. And but so they win by the skin of their teeth. There, they go to face number 9 Notre Dame in the next round, and they win 81-74. Third round, they go to play North Carolina State. And they win 69-61. They were the number 5 seed, and then they have a showdown here in the regional final versus Duke, number 2 seed Duke.
Is that dickhead Duke?
That's number 1 and 2.
What's his name?
Krzyzewski,
the white guy,
Leitner. Yeah, because this is when he came on. Because Leitner was on the '92 team. He was the only college guy. Right. You remember? For some reason, they were like, "We'll grab him too. Grab his fucking white ass. Someone's got to carry shit. Someone's got to get us bagels in the morning. Get the fucking kid over." They really probably did that, because otherwise, if you're on that team and you're a college kid, you're carrying bags and you're getting fucking, you're getting
whatever you want.
You're getting sandwiches, whatever they want. That's goddamn Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley and Magic Johnson. What do you need? Because I got you. You're good. Who knows?
I'm trying to think of everybody on that Duke team. It was probably Grant Hill.
I think he was on that team.
I think he was
too.
there. And then Leitner. And I think
that was
that's
88, 89. Yeah, and then a couple, I'm trying to think, because everybody I'm thinking of is like 91, 92, and I don't know if they were there. Because I know a lot about like that Michigan team, the Fab Five, 91, like that era of Duke.
Thugs.
Yeah.
Those guys were gangster.
I love that too.
I
love them too.
Yeah.
I like all those.
That was a great team.
I like all the subversive teams always as a kid. I always like that. Oh, those guys are the dicks? Okay, I like that. I always was as a kid. All right, good. I like the team of assholes. That's
I don't even mind that it ended with the way it ended, because it was still so. They still all went on to have great careers or fine careers.
Shit, they had damn fine careers. I'm sure they all made a ton of money. That's good. Yeah. Good for them. That year, though, Charles has a good year too. Charles, 18.7 points a game, leads the team in scoring, 3.6 rebounds, 5.1 assists. So not too shabby. 33.7 minutes a game. He started 33 games. All the games he played, he started. Not too bad. And steals, 1.8 steals that year. He is the Big East Player of the Year for the conference. He's also in the NCAA tournament. They have regions. That's what I was going for. Regions, not bracket. Regions. He is he's part of the all-region team from the tournament, and he is an 88-89 AP All-America selection.
Wow.
So fucking great. I mean, you can't get much better.
So bright, the horizon.
It is right now for him. The future is fucking. First of all, you went to Georgetown for 4 years, so you got that backing you up. You got a great education.
Fucking Olympic team.
You're an Olympian. You have a medal. It's a bronze, but it's still a fucking. You can scratch it, and there's chocolate underneath, but it's still a fucking medal. And most people don't. I don't have any medals.
I have 0.
I have 0 medals. That's pretty goddamn impressive. He's got medals. He's got all this shit happening. Georgetown, top school. Yeah. Does great. He did as well as he could do in the tournament. He's I mean, Jesus Christ. He had a great tournament. All America, feeling great. Grace. Let's just right there.
Oh no!
This is Grace. Could it be any better now?
No, it can't.
No,
but, I mean, you could get drafted and then go on to have a great career.
You could. Sometimes you do.
Yeah.
Not this time.
All right.
We'll talk about that. But yeah, this is a rough Grace. I mean, but it is a great. At least he had a high point.
It's impressive.
Some of the people we talk about, they don't even have a high point. You're like, Grace now? That was good. That was the good part.
That's it.
That was all he had, man.
He's 1-0.
That's the glory. I don't know what to tell you, man. He's 1-0. Yeah, it'll be a fighter. I don't know. He's 2-0, and he hasn't killed anybody yet. So it's
Grace.
We're doing Grace. This is good. The All-America teams that year, by the way, to give you just kind of a context of who else was on there. He's the second team All-America. Okay. There's 3. There's the third, first, second, third. First team is Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, Sherman Douglas, Sean Elliott, the longtime Spur, who I think lost a kidney or gave a kidney.
I think
some
lost
kidney issue
and got one
back. And
great 3-point shooter.
Good guy. He was a good player.
Yeah.
Sean
Classy
Elliott.
dude.
He was a good. That's just a good all around guy. Danny Ferry is on that team. The big goofy white guy.
Sad
name, from Duke. He was another Duke guy.
Okay.
So that's another reason why I didn't like Danny Ferry. He's a big Duke dick. Fucking Stacey King also on that from Oklahoma.
When you got a sport that you play that is mostly watched, I think, think by kids. I don't know. It felt like it when I was young watching.
Yeah.
That poor guy was just so terribly named.
Oh, yeah. He was Danny Ferry.
Yeah,
always.
just railed on.
Yeah. No.
And he looked like a dweeb.
I remember one time, and this is an absolute fact. I remember two kids. It was in there used to be a thing called like a card shop where you'd go and they'd have like cards and memorabilia, and kids used to hang out there and like buy cards and like hang out, and kids would be like trading shit and like fucking the whole deal. I remember hearing two kids, I was probably 12 at the time. I remember hearing two kids trying to work out a trade with different cards, and all I know is I didn't hear the kid offer him up, but one of the kids clearly offered up Danny Ferry in the trade, a Danny Ferry rookie, and the other kid goes, Danny Ferry, I don't want him. And that stuck in my head for over 20 years. I can't. It's just Danny Ferry. I don't want him. It's just like
there's got to be
nobody wants him.
The least used guy on NBA Live.
Oh,
you bench that fucking guy right away.
Ferry, no one wants him in there. You goofy bastard. I'd rather have Bill Wennington. Yeah, bring him in off the bench. It's fine.
Depressing. What a
goddamn
shit name.
fine. So that's the second team is Mookie Blaylock. Jay Edwards from Indiana. Never Nervous Purvis Ellison from Louisville. I love Purvis Ellison. That's a cool motherfucker.
Sixers?
Never Nervous Purvis. He was kind of made his way all around.
Yeah,
he's one of those guys. Glenn Rice, who we've talked about before. He got some almost vice presidential ass back in the day.
It's the funniest goddamn
He's like,
thing.
dodge that bullet.
Every time I hear that man's name, I see her face now. That's fucking crazy.
Every time he sees a news report of like her son doing some crazy shit or her daughter having like triplets on the hood of a pickup truck in the middle of the mall or some shit, he's like, man, did I dodge a fucking bullet right there.
He hears Marv Albert go, yes!
Yes! No fucking doubt.
In
the mall food court
while shooting a wolf. That's amazing.
The other thing, make sure there ain't no wolves out there. Bring the guns. Wow.
That family.
That fucking family. And Charles Smith also. Okay. Obviously the last one there. And the third team quickly, Hank Gathers, Todd Lichty, George McLeod, who I remember very well. Lonzo Mourning as a freshman made third team.
Wow.
All-American. And Lionel Simmons from LaSalle, who I don't remember at all.
Say his name again?
Lionel Simmons.
I do. He played for the Bucks.
Okay, that's probably why I don't remember him, because the Bucks were very easily ignored.
I see the Topps card with him dribbling up the court.
They were so easily ignored, the Bucks. It was just like, I don't
I think he was in NBA Jam, matter of fact, Lionel Simmons. Nobody ever played the Bucks.
No, but the Bucks had fucking
Todd Day.
Blowhouse. B. Lohaus. Brad Lohaus. It was Blowhouse.
I think it was Todd Day, Blowhouse, and Lionel Simmons.
Jesus, I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure that's true.
I have blocked Lionel Simmons. I remember guys, obscure guys, too. And for some reason, I have completely blocked Lionel Simmons from my memory bank.
You know what?
If I saw his basketball card, it'd probably,
In my head right now, I see that jersey, I see that face. It might be Vin Baker's
I'm
face.
sure it's Vin Baker. Because Vin Baker, I know, it's not Frank Brakowski. No. I'm sure of that shit. I know that for a fact.
I can't remember, but I see Lionel Simmons. Kings? I don't know.
I got to look up his card now.
The jersey.
Yep, I could see that. Hawks? Yep, definitely. He's on the Hawks. Sure, he's on the Hawks forever.
Maybe it was the Expos.
Dallas? Yeah, he's on Dallas. I see that. Totally. It's right there.
I can see. I can see.
No, Sixers. So absolutely on the Sixers. 100%. I have no idea. I don't know. I'm going to have to look up his basketball card. People are going to be tweeting his card at us. This Lionel Simmons. So
I see him either at the free throw line or coming up the court. One of the two.
Yeah. Well, good for him. He did both probably.
Or it's Vin Baker or both of them.
Vin Baker. Who knows? Or it's fucking Glenn Robinson. You're really off. So who knows, man?
Jesus Christ.
So June 27th, 1989 is the NBA draft. Who, if you're consensus All-American, you feel you're one of the top 10 players in the country.
It's a pretty good deal.
You're looking fucking forward to this,
At
baby.
minimum 15.
You're looking good. Yeah, you're feeling good about yourself here. This is June 27th, 1989 from the Felt Forum in New York, which is the offshoot, smaller Madison Square Garden thing.
It's the giggles of the side room.
Yeah. It's like I think 4,000 or 5,000 seats they got over there.
That's great.
They hold over there. Yeah, it's MSG.
But I mean,
it's
not for the NBA draft. That should be right there in center court.
But well, I mean, even then, but it was getting to be a bigger deal then. It was on TBS, which TBS wasn't that big of a station at the time, so they were growing with them and all that. The NBA really blew up in the 90s. People don't
because of TBS.
Well, in the 80s,
because of Turner Network.
The 80s, Bird and Magic really took it to, but the 90s was a whole other thing, man. That was like a huge deal in the 90s. Michael Jordan and when Shaq came in and all it was mainstream.
It was great players.
It was great. The players were amazing. Like really, that was a golden era for players in the 80s and 90s. But the marketing was also golden era.
Yeah.
Like everyone on Earth knew who fucking Shaq was in 1993. Yeah. Everyone on Earth knew who Michael Jordan was in 1991.
Scottie Pippen was
everybody. They were all household faces, never mind names.
Right.
So they were household faces.
And that's the difference now because I know names of NBA players, but if you showed me their face, I'd be like, that ain't him.
I don't know who the fuck that is. Yeah. Well, I think the Olympics also, the 92 Olympics, that mainstreamed NBA basketball. You're
probably right.
Because the Olympics get huge ratings, way bigger than the NBA.
Right.
And that's also a different audience. The NBA is a different
all sports
audience, whereas the Olympics is your casual fan, your somebody's mother sitting on the couch wanting to watch the gymnastics or whatever. That's the Olympics. So
and you got to sit through this basketball game to get to it.
Yeah, and that just pounded every one of those guys' faces into everybody's and then they were on everything. You went to McDonald's, a fucking Dream Team thing. If you went here, there was a Dream Team thing. Everybody had a Dream Team sponsored.
And then the games weren't even close.
Oh, people loved them. They were hilarious. It was like, oh look, 91-48. We beat the shit out of what team? I don't even know what country that is. I never heard of them before. Fuck them.
That's a weird flag.
Great.
Who gives a fuck?
Who gives a shit? Let's watch fucking Barkley dunk on him. Sounds great. All right. There he is.
That weird man with the hairy chest just got his fucking face pushed into MJ's ball sack.
Nice porn mustache, buddy. You should probably shave that before you play the NBA players. So this draft here, 1989, number one overall pick is Purvis Ellison from Louisville.
Okay.
Never Nervous Purvis goes to the Kings. Number two overall. This is why the Clippers were the Clippers for so fucking long. By the way, I can't, when I'm watching the ticker on football at the ball, I can't get used to LAC being the Chargers.
I can't either.
Every time I see it, I'm like, the Clippers? What the fuck? Shit. I see Clippers because our whole lives we were trained on a ticker. LAC is the fucking Clippers.
And there's never been one in the NFL.
No.
It's never been a thing.
LAC is really tripping me out here. But this is why the Clippers suck. They draft Danny Ferry, number 2 overall. Number 2 overall out of Duke.
Out of everything.
Out of everybody.
Could have had anybody.
And we'll tell you who you could have had, and it's way better than Danny Ferry. Let's put it that way. Number 3, Sean Elliott.
But here, real quickly, before you move further to Sean Elliott, didn't they move him pretty rapidly to the Cavaliers after that?
Yeah. Danny Ferry didn't last very long.
He was gone so quick. Was gone. Idiots.
Yeah, they were. I'm sure they got.
He's a good 3-point shooter.
Terrible value. He was a big guy though. I don't remember him shooting threes. He was a power forward.
I see him shooting threes.
His big goofy white ass under the boards.
Fucking creep looking man.
He was. He was creepy. He looked like somebody's like a lecherous professor.
Yeah.
He looked like
hairy,
weird. Sean Elliott, number 3.
Okay.
Glenn Rice, number 4. J.R. Reed, Stacey King, George McLeod. There. Pooh Richardson, number 10.
I loved him.
The best player ever named Pooh, I would say. It has to be. I don't know any others. Nick Anderson, the guard for the Magic forever. He was a great player in the 90s.
That's a 3-point shooter.
Everybody knew. Yeah, Nick Anderson's a great 3-point shooter. Mookie Blaylock there goes to the Nets.
Unfortunate man.
Tim Hardaway to the Warriors there. So, I mean, Dana Barros, who was also a good 3-point shooter.
Great player.
I remember him on the Sixers forever. He's drafted by Seattle, but I remember he was there for like 2 years, and then he got shipped over there.
Was that all he was there for?
Yeah, then he was shipped over to
until they got
Philly for a long time.
Kerry Kittles and Allen Iverson.
Well, number 17 overall is also the Sonics this year, and they get Sean Kemp.
Really?
So yeah, that's you. Okay, if you're looking for a power forward, LA, you took Danny Ferry over a man who can grab the top of the backboard. The top of the back. I mean, Sean Kemp. It fell apart in later years because he'll be in episode 2.
That's another thing too. If he would have gotten drafted in LA, he would have had that whole valley pregnant.
Oh my God.
Holy shit.
Everybody. And he would have been a giant star. He would have been a huge fucking star there. BJ Armstrong went after him. Another great player. Vlade Divac at the end of the round.
My fuck.
Yeah, these guys, I mean, Sherman Douglas, Cliff Robinson.
Even him.
Yeah, even Cliff Robinson. Real good player. So there's a lot of options here to not pick Danny Ferry, basically. And they blow it all and they pick Danny Ferry. But one player not picked is Charles Smith.
Oh, no.
Whole 2 rounds go by, he's never picked.
Nothing.
And it's weird, too, because there's point guards here that get picked where I'm like, okay, Scott Hafner? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Guys like that where you go, Junie Lewis?
What?
You know Junie Lewis?
No.
Ever hear of him? I've never heard of Junie Lewis from South Alabama before.
No.
But he gets drafted over a consensus All-American from Georgetown who just displayed what he does on national television in a tournament for weeks in a row also.
What did they see?
They didn't see. It's NBA is they don't see guys as some guys are just, that's a college player.
There's no way that translates to the NBA.
That doesn't translate. It's a weird thing. He's 6'1", he's 160, and he's not crazy athletic.
Yeah.
He does not dunking on people. He's a guy who's got to play on kind of guile and his speed too, his quickness in the NBA.
Yeah.
You know, what's quick in college isn't quick in the NBA.
That's a good point.
If you got Gary Payton D'ing you up, it's a different story. You know, like it's a totally different ball game than if you have some fucking kid from Princeton on you.
Right.
Even if they hold you to 50. So he doesn't get drafted at all. 3 months go by.
Mm-hmm.
This has to be tough for him, man. That's a tough thing to do, I would think.
3 months of that shit sitting in your craw?
3 months going all summer long. Just that happened in June. He's just June, July, August, just tapping his fingers.
Calendar pages just burning up.
Fuck, man. This sucks. And no money burning up is probably the other issue. I don't know if he has anything left over from Georgetown, which I'm sure he was compensated nicely.
He should be.
He fucking should be, goddammit. They made a lot of money off hats and jackets. You know how many fucking people had Georgetown gear? I'm sorry. I don't give a shit. I hope every one of those players got as much money from those scumbag alumni as they fucking could, because they wanted to win and they want to see a winner, and that school made so much fucking money. The NCAA, Georgetown, everything was Georgetown in the late 80s. Hats, jackets, the big starter jackets, all that shit. They were a huge seller, and those kids made fucking ugats off it. So I really hope they drained those alumni and those boosters just dry. I hope they turned them upside down and shook the change out of their pockets.
If not, I hope a woman drained their ball bag in a free Cadillac.
Something, damn it. Something happened.
Anything.
So 3 months go by, and then he gets a phone call, and he ends up being signed as a free agent by the Boston Celtics.
Oh.
Which at the end of the 80s, that's a pretty good fucking place to land.
Yes.
That's a Hall of Famers all around you. That's, wow. This
all
is
at the end of their careers with a chance for you.
And you want to learn, that's a place to learn.
Hell
you got people around you. Boston, he plays on Boston that year. It's Coach Jimmy Rogers, who I don't remember very well for some reason. But Boston, not a bad year this year, 52-30. Okay. You win 50 in the NBA, it's a goddamn good season. Second in the Atlantic Division, they go to the playoffs, and they lose in the first round of the playoffs to the Knicks, though, which I'm sure did not sit well. That's when they knew it was over in Boston. Yeah. That was the end of it, I think. But
losing to New York.
And they lose to the Knicks, who were like, oh. And the Knicks were not good, and they were starting to get good, and then the 90s Knicks were good. But
so much fun.
Through the 80s, if you're a Celtics fan, you're laughing at the Knicks, and now you're getting beat in the playoffs in the first round by the Knicks. Like, that's not good. So that team is Larry Bird, though, Kevin Gamble. I remember Kevin Gamble. Dennis Johnson, who's a damn good player. Yeah. Big, goofy shit Joe Klein. Remember goofy Joe Klein?
Came to the Suns for a while.
Played for the Suns. I use that term very loosely and in quote. Played for the Suns.
He sat on a bench for the Suns.
He hung out in a Suns uniform and got a tan, and I think he was actually having margaritas while on the bench. He's like, I know I'm not fucking playing.
May as well mix these.
Half these guys could get hurt, and they're still not going to fucking call me. It does not matter.
Every center could be injured. They'll still put
there's a security
Mark
guard
West in there before me.
There's a security guard here who is actually ahead of me in the depth chart. So here I am. Somebody get me one of those little pizzas from the fucking food thing.
There's a kid. Go get a pizza from the guy that's playing before I do.
Yeah, go grab him, please. 'Cause Jesus Christ. This was a hell of a team, though. Joe Klein, like I said, Reggie Lewis, who will meet a tragic end, as we know. Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish.
Yes.
Love Robert Parrish.
He was one of the greatest ever.
He's been busted for weed so many times.
Parrish
doesn't give a fuck. No, he doesn't care. He's a big pothead. He doesn't give a shit. He got busted having like pounds delivered to his house. He's like, I like a lot of weed. So they were trying to get him.
Look at me.
They were trying to get him for intent to distribute. And he's like, what are you, fucking stupid? I'm smoking all of that. That's all for me.
Look how big I am. How much do you think will get me high? Barely that.
And his eyes never open more than about a quarter of an inch. And his nickname is Chief. Yeah. Guess what? I'm smoking it all.
Really?
Chief, baby.
That's funny.
Robert Parrish is the fucking man. Jim Paxson, a little fucking goofball with his brothers doing shaving commercials. I remember that. And I want to still want to break his brother's legs for that 93 shot. Ed Pickney, who was a good player, and Charles Smith, and also Michael Smith.
Danny Ainge wasn't on this team anymore.
No Danny Ainge here.
Where did he move to after that?
That is...
did he go to Phoenix after that?
I think. Was he in somewhere in between?
I wonder that.
I'm clouding out on like 90 to 92.
There may have been.
I'm clouding out. Because 92, 93 is on the Suns team, definitely. So 90, 91 probably. Because this is the, 89, 90 Celtics here. He was somewhere else. So... yeah, this team though, it's that's a lot of veterans on this team. Those are a lot of experienced players. If you look, not a lot of rookies at all. There's like one. The Smith guys are the only 2 rookies. Everybody else is Reggie Lewis has 2 years experience, and everybody else is pretty fucking experienced.
His heart has 90 years experience.
It's 90 years. It's terrible. Yeah, that's the problem. He'll come up again later this episode.
Oh, really?
So he plays in 60 games this year for the Celtics. So signs as a free agent, ends up getting into 60 games. Charles Smith does, which is that's impressive. I'm sorry. That's to come
60 NBA games.
You didn't even get drafted, and then you're playing in 60 games.
There's only 82.
That's pretty goddamn good. Yeah, he doesn't start any of them, but what do you want? He's like he's a rookie buried on the depth chart. He plays 8.7 minutes a game, so it's a lot like Georgetown's freshman season. 2.9 points per game. You know,
even on this team, I'll bet he got more playing time than fucking Joe Klein.
I bet he absolutely did. I wish I had Joe Klein's. I wish I would have printed out his stats. This rookie, I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
I don't think Joe Klein played 8.7 minutes a game. Not with Parrish and fucking McHale there. Probably not. So 1.2 rebounds, 1.7 assists. So, I mean, a rookie year. Who knows? Whatever. The 1990-1991 season, the Celtics this year, different coach this year, Chris Ford, they go 56-26.
I don't know who that guy is either.
I remember Chris Ford. I remember that guy for some reason. This is when I started coming into my own in the NBA. And
it's not the Toronto governor?
It's definitely not the Toronto governor. That is Rob Ford.
Rob Ford,
the fat crack-smoking guy. Yeah. He's a mayor. Yeah, he's not.
He's not a governor.
Thank fuck. No, they never elected him to a higher office. Some provincial, whatever the fuck they have up there. I don't know do you have provincial governors up there? What do you have? How does your government structure work?
You got mayors and then that handsome fuck running the whole thing.
That's it. Between Rob Ford smoking crack in his mayor's office.
How far do you get to Trudeau?
And Trudeau. What's in the middle of those two? How do you get from there to there?
I'll bet they're sandwiched, then nothing fucking happens without the Queen say so.
Then that's how it works. The mayors go directly to Trudeau, and then Trudeau sends a telegram across the sea with a man. He sends it with, there's a special messenger. He's got a hat with a big plume on it, and he brings correspondence back and forth between the Queen and the Prime Minister. I feel like that's probably how government works. And then that's handed down to the mayors, and that's that.
Dear Queen, pray tell.
Pray tell. And where does Wayne Gretzky fit into the structure? Because I feel like he has a prominent place also. Is he like? I feel like he's like a deity kind of though. Like if Gretzky can overrule the Queen, possibly it's that sort of thing. Like, well, Wayne says no, Queen says yes, Wayne says no. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I'm very confused. I don't know.
Wayne takes a slap shot from center ice to decide the top ones.
I'm going to take one slap shot, and then I'm going to go out and I'm going to pray to the moose god. And I'm going to hope that the wisdom comes to me.
Whatever it is, our system's better.
I think it's better. Canadian government with crime and sports. Crime and sports.
With a dipshit and a half educated on government.
No, yeah, not of Canada, clearly, because I don't know anything about that shit.
No.
At least we know who's in charge up there.
Listen, if your government if your representative fucks up, I know him.
We know that.
That's the only.
Yeah.
And then if he's handsome as fuck, I know him. Outside of that,
Macron, and you know him, and those are the only two world leaders that you're aware of at this point in time.
It's depressing.
Oh man, that's fucking hilarious. So, other countries, get your shit together, elect a handsome prime minister, and maybe Jimmy will pay attention to you.
Maybe I'll recognize that motherfucker.
Maybe. We'll see. So, they this year, 90-91 season, they go to the NBA playoffs again with, like I said, a 56-26 record. not too shabby. They win in the first round versus Indiana. They play the Pacers, an early Pacer team there, 3-2 in the first round. Yeah. Then they play the Pistons in 1990. This is the bad boy Pistons. This is
nothing's happening for you if you're playing them.
No, they're the next wave. It was Boston was the East, and then Detroit took it from them, and then Chicago took it from them, and that's how it went in a 10-year, 12, 15-year period.
All East all the time.
All East. That was how the East worked, and they lose in 6 games to the Pistons.
That's impressive to go 6.
They went 6 with the Pistons, which I'm sure bruised and battered and beaten, because those Pistons would beat the shit out of you. Again, I liked them.
Yeah, that's the best way. That's the best way sports.
The '90s
work.
Knicks are my favorite. Like I love the '90s Knicks. They will throw your ass into a second row with really no provocation that really needed, just to let you know that it can happen. So
anything's fair game here.
We talked about Anthony Mason, and we will do a Charles Oakley episode as well someday.
I enjoyed that whole roster minus Greg Anthony, and that was only because of his cheap shot. That's the only reason.
But 90-91 for Charles Smith. He plays in 5 games. Not terrific. He's not there through the playoffs.
No.
He only plays in 5 games, 6 minutes a game, 1.8 points, so 1.2 assists.
It's over already.
It doesn't really matter. December 5th, so barely, not even halfway through the season, he's released by the Celtics.
Ouch.
So he doesn't go on that nice little run. He has a smaller run, and then it's over with very, very quickly. Released by the Celtics in 1990. He's got to be floating around not knowing which end is up at this point, I would think. Because you go from being in the NBA to not being in the NBA.
That's tough.
That's a big drop-off, I would think. That's tough. I'm trying to find the equivalent of that in non-sports. Because in the NBA, it's because you can get, even if you get it, if you're this is your job, but you get fired, you can get a job at another company, and it's kind of the same thing, doing the same job. But like the NBA, if you're shit canned from the NBA, there's no equivalent to that. It's that, and then you're making $50 a game if you play in some beer league somewhere, or the CBA, which is worse.
Showing up to some fucking high school in your hometown, going, "He made it, he did it."
That's what I mean. Like
for $20,
that's tough, man. That's a really fucking tough drop off.
Giving away autographs.
Yeah. It's not even. I thought about it as like a comedian that has a TV show, and then they don't have a TV show anymore, but they're still going to sell out their live shows, and they're still going to do fine.
5-10 years.
Yeah, they're going to do fine if they had a TV. So it's not even that. Like, you don't have the TV show anymore, but you can almost wear that as a badge of honor.
Shit, yeah.
You can be like, it was too good. Right. Yeah, that's what the fucking anything that's half decent, they're fucking idiots at the network, and everyone goes, oh yeah, they're stupid.
Right.
Whereas no one ever goes, oh yeah, the NBA, they don't know fucking basketball players. Yeah, they don't know shit. All the good players get released by them and picked up by the CBA. Like that doesn't happen.
There's nothing like it.
No.
It's just some other sport, really. That's the only thing that's equivalent. It's being cut from another football team or another baseball team, or whatever.
That's the only thing that's like 100 or 2.
Yeah.
There's no
so unique.
It's really like mayor up to Trudeau. It's like there's only one there's that or that. There's nothing in between.
Right.
No governmental structure in between the leader and the mayor. So 1991, he ends up playing for the Rockford Lightning of the CBA, which there you go. CBA is not the Canadian Basketball Association, as we've gone over a bunch of times. It is the Continental Basketball Association, and they will pick up anybody. You could be holding the handle of a knife that is in somebody's chest as their blood squirts from their aorta, and they'd be like, he's looking good right now. That was good form. That's that hand-eye coordination. We could sign him. I'm not saying he's going to start right away, but we sign him, I think. They do not give a fuck. They sign Jason Williams. They sign, if you're too much of a fuck up for the NBA, they will absolutely take you on, and you'll be a star there.
Can you dribble? How's your handles?
Yeah. So the Lightning was the oldest team in the CBA. They were originally the Lancaster Red Roses from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And they moved to Rockford, and then became the Lightning, and then they became the Rockford Peaches, and had Lori Petty pitch for them. No, they didn't.
They ran some great skirts.
They ran some wonderful skirts. So they ended up January 20th, 2006. They announced that the team would cease operations.
That is a bummer. I wish that could. They don't exist anymore. None of it right?
They're done.
They should play in skirts. That'll get us to watch.
That would be amazing.
We'll giggle our balls off watching dudes.
I would
run
watch.
up
Well, no, I would watch if they gave them like the League of Their Own uniforms, like those with
the fucking buttons across
the button
chest.
thing, the flap, whatever the hell that breastplate was.
It goes
across.
from the right to the left and buttons down that side.
The don't look at my boob plate. That was like a burlap boob protector. I don't know what that was. That was weird.
Just in case one pops out, this will make sure that doesn't even. Just in case.
Although if you got hit in the boob by a fastball, that would hurt. So maybe you want an extra layer.
Maybe so.
I would think that would be a place where you wouldn't want to get hit with a. I don't know if they have boob cups.
I don't know.
Ladies, do they have boob cups in softball? I don't think so because I've seen college softball and those girls are not held in place by very much. So anyway,
jiggles when they run.
They run around.
Yeah.
But they're fine. But it's just yes, it's fun. That's amazing. So
most of them don't want anything to do with me, but it's fun.
It's fun though. It's still fun. It's whether they want anything or not. It's not bad. It's a shame. The Rockford Lightning there. They were runners up in the CBA multiple times. They lost to the Dakota Wizards and the Sioux Falls Skyforce in their two finals appearances. Very, very, very sad. They did make an attempt to have a new ownership group, but it was unsuccessful. And that's that. They're done. So March 14th, 1991, the Celtics call back.
Oh.
They sign him to a 10-day contract to, they have a couple injuries in the backcourt.
One more chance.
And they say, hey, you want to hop on? They know who he is. He's probably in shape. He's been playing ball.
Yeah.
Fucking let's grab him. So, and your foot's in the door. As long as your foot is in the door, I think you're good, right?
Yeah.
Got to have that.
Chance.
Everyone out there should listen to Small Town Murder. Yeah. You really should, mainly because you never know who's next door. Oh. And that's the point of this show, really. You never know who is next door. You never know what's going to happen on Small Town Murder. That's what makes it so wonderful. The only thing you do know is that people are going to die, and we're probably going to make jokes about it. That's it. That's all we can promise you. We dig into these towns. We see what makes them tick, from local legends to scandals they may have had. And, of course, the biggest scandals of all, horrible murders that take place there. And we put our, what I feel is a completely appropriate comedic spin on the whole thing. And you know you need a laugh right now. So get in there, listen to Small Town Murder, follow Small Town Murder on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Small Town Murder early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
He's got to be feeling somewhat better about himself.
I would be.
If you're off of the Rockford Peaches and you're on to Lori Petty's no longer your teammate. Instead, it's Larry Bird now. That's an upgrade, I would say, as a basketball teammate.
It's Lori Petty's playing for the fucking Sox now.
That would be impressive. So March 21st, 1991, he's a week into a 10-day contract.
Yeah.
The Celtics are supposed to take a night flight to Indianapolis for the next day. I'm pretty sure it's Indianapolis. But for some reason, the team decides to not take that flight and take a flight the next morning to go to Indianapolis. I don't know what the reasoning was for the team, but they can shift flights around. They do that all the time.
Of course.
We're going to fly out this day. Yeah. So they decide to fly out the next morning, which leaves Charles to a night in Boston on his own.
On his lonesome.
So it's 1:45 a.m., which is never good.
No.
Whenever a story starts with it's 1:45 a.m., you know there's bad things are going to fucking happen. He is driving. He went out, hung out for a while at a couple bars, couple clubs, and then he is driving a friend of his, a former teammate, Georgetown teammate, over to another friend's house in another part of Boston. We'll get to who that is in a minute, but it's not important right now.
Okay.
So it's 1:45 a.m., and he's got a rented Dodge Caravan for some reason. Why he rented a Dodge Caravan, I have no fucking idea.
Yeah.
Why a young man, why a 24-year-old man is renting a 24-year-old professional athlete is renting a Dodge Caravan, I'm not positive. But
and
he's
single at this point? No kids?
No, he's single. Just hanging out. I don't know if he expected to have a caravan full of women that they were going to pick up, or if they went out with multiple people. I don't understand.
Or maybe he's got a fantasy about being a dad one day, and he's like, I just want to see what this feels like.
I just want to try it on for size. Or maybe that's what they had at the rental car place.
There's
like
that.
Either that or the, whatever, the Ford Festiva.
Wagon.
And he goes, fuck it, give me the bigger one. I'll take the minivan.
Yeah.
So either way, he's out with this van. It's a Dodge, and if you remember a Dodge Caravan minivan, it's a minivan, but they're pretty fucking big.
Yeah.
It's a big van. It's a big car. It's not a big van. It's not the size of a van, but it's a minivan. That's a perfect way of putting it.
Behind it. Yeah.
Perfect way of putting it. So apparently, Smith was coming up on, he was driving on Commonwealth Avenue near Boston University campus at about 1:45 in the morning. And apparently, there was 8 people crossing the street at the time.
Oh, God.
And he drove his car right through it. He did not
All 8 of
stop.
them?
He did not stop. There is some discrepancy about whether the light was red and a bunch of stuff we'll get into in a second. But he plowed through where 8 people were walking. 2 people were hit. This is 2 Boston University students, 2 young ladies, one co-eds, one Ann T. Trin. She's Vietnamese. Her father runs a poultry plant, I believe. But she's raised very strict Vietnamese and all this. Now she's going to college and she's having a good time. She's from California. And also Michelle Dartley, who is 20 years old, also from Ridgewood, New Jersey. These are the 2 girls that are hit by the car. They were crossing the street. They were hit so hard that they were thrown onto the curb on impact. Apparently, Charles drove about a block further, stopped, paused for a moment,
looked both ways,
paused, and then made a quick U-turn, drove past the site again, and kept going.
What?
Drove away. Fucking took off. Yeah.
What?
2 young girls are on the curb, bleeding, hit hard by. We'll talk about their injuries. It's pretty fucking severe. We'll get into it. And he goes up, and you know the process too. He drove a block up. Holy shit! I hit something. His friends going, I think you hit. Oh my god! They're looking back. They stop in the middle of the street. Are looking back. He pops a U-turn to drive past it. Sees it's bad and keeps fucking going and guns it and takes off, which is insane. I mean, I don't even know what the mindset is there.
Back then, so what the fuck was he doing?
A taxi driver saw him, saw the van hit the women near the crosswalk, do the U-turn, pause, do the U-turn, and leave the scene. People, 2 different cars follow him, leaving the scene, obviously, to fucking keep an eye on him.
Sure.
The police are called, obviously, along with paramedics and everything else. He ends up being apprehended 12 minutes later, about a mile away, trying to get on the Massachusetts Turnpike. He was entering the Turnpike. Like I said, people were following him. In the van with him was Benjamin Guillory, who was his roommate from Georgetown and a teammate from Georgetown. He was the one being given a ride. He was questioned by police and released. That guy, he wasn't driving. What the fuck does he have? Right. No, he has nothing to do with it. The front end of the vehicle showed considerable damage. It's a 1991 Caravan. Damage to the front grille, a headlight, and the windshield. Strands of hair were found in the grill, which that's not good.
You really got to give somebody hell to get their hair out of them.
Hair
and keep
in the grill.
In the car.
Plus, their head hit the grill of the car, man. That's
and that's the minivan that had like the metal bumper, and it was squared off on the front.
Kind of with that grill.
One of those.
Yeah.
They're fucking hideous.
You don't want to get hit by one of those.
They are metal.
They're big and heavy too. You don't want to get hit by one of those. The police said, quote, the officers noted alcoholic beverage on his breath, on Charles Smith's breath.
There you go.
Yeah, he was offered and agreed to take a field sobriety test. He walked a line and recited the alphabet. He said a few moments later, a witness came and positively identified him in the van. As it's like, well, there's not a lot of vans running around with hair in the grill, so we're going to go ahead and probably just guess it's him.
Yeah.
Both girls were pronounced dead at Beth Israel Hospital in Boston. So he killed both of these girls.
Holy shit.
Dead. Not just injured, dead. It's fucking insane.
Did he rent this minivan to go drinking and driving because they never pull over a minivan?
A minivan,
you know what I mean?
or who the fuck knows?
Wow.
I don't know what the fuck he did. We'll find out also. We'll find out his alcohol and whatever else was in his system. We'll talk about in a minute. And then drove away from killing two girls. It's one thing to hit them and do a stupid thing. I mean, it's horrible and it happens and whatever. But then you fucking sack up and you try to help the people you just hurt, and you fucking call an ambulance and you say you did whatever you did.
They're gonna catch it, and it's gonna be worse.
You don't drive away from injured people and act like it never happened. That's insane.
It's gonna ruin your life for sure. I had a friend in high school that hit one of our co-eds, sisters, and the little girl died, and it ruined his fucking life. But rightfully so.
That's what I mean.
You take the consequences of
pay
your
attention.
actions.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You hit somebody on a fucking street in your car, they're not going to be okay.
Did he drive away?
No, he didn't.
Well, that's what I mean. Even that, at least he stayed there like a fucking
arrested.
at least he stayed there like an adult.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, Jesus Christ, this guy said, "Fuck it, I'm driving away, man. I got 3 days left on my Celtic contract. I got to go. This is ridiculous." The Trin family here, we found out a little bit about them. The other family isn't so public with their in the press, but the Trin family, their sister, Anne's sister was kind of the spokesman to the press because they don't speak very good English. The parents, from what I hear, the sister said, quote, "My parents are devastated. We all loved her so much." They got a phone call from the hospital saying that she'd been taken there after the accident. Her sister said, quote, "The doctors were taking her into surgery, so we all prayed. I prayed that if she lived, I'd be a better person, and I'd stop doing this and that, but she didn't." So she's a worse person now.
Piece of shit
now she says she just fucking pushes old ladies over, steals their purses. She just has a vendetta for God now.
Does 80 in a minivan.
It's very sad. She's just turned into a serial killer. So they said how she had everything to live for. She had family, friends. She was apparently an honors student, and she was very, very intelligent, really smart. Really, she was in the psychology program at Boston University. Very studious. Also, music and that sort of thing. She's from California. She went to Cal State Fullerton for a little bit, and then transferred to Boston University. She was going to study journalism and then traded her major into psychology.
Smart girl. She's very educated.
Very smart. Trying to really be educated. And it's an immigrant family with a smart girl that's sending her to BU, which is a really good school. And it's the American dream.
Yeah.
And then this asshole comes and hits her with a car and then drives away like a dick.
I bet she knew all kinds of stuff about Canadian government.
I bet she knew exactly who took the messages from Ford to Trudeau.
She would know. Stood here calling us assholes.
Yeah, you dumb fucks.
If it hadn't been for this fucking jerk.
So, yeah. Jesus. So the police, once they get there, they run his license. They show that his license has been suspended. He's on a suspended license. Shouldn't even be driving to begin with.
What an asshole.
And it's only due to an unpaid parking ticket. Pay your fucking parking ticket and get your license. So he doesn't even have a license. So A, he shouldn't be driving. One, who rented him a fucking car with no license?
That's a good point.
With no valid license. I don't know if in 1991 it was a lot easier to rent a car, apparently.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
He's not even 25.
Right.
That's the other thing.
24 years old and just with a valid ID. They're just like, sure, take it.
Sure, that's your picture. That looks like you. Yeah. No problem. He's not 25. He has no fucking valid license, and they rent him a car. Wow. What is happening? His blood alcohol level. Yeah. This is interesting here. He voluntarily gave his license and all that. He was cooperating once they pulled him over.
Sure.
His blood alcohol level is 0.06. Okay. Now we're in a weird gray area here.
Sticky.
At the time, the legal drunk driving level in Massachusetts is 0.10.
Yep.
Is what it all used to be, and then it's gone to 0.18, and then it's gone to if you've smelled alcohol in the last 3 weeks, you're drunk. If it's been near you.
0.08. You said 0.18. Just
yeah.
Make sure James knows.
Yeah, 0.08 is what I meant.
Tweet.
Yeah, 0.08. Yeah, they've gone down.
Hang on. Retract your thumb from that phone. We don't need it. We
flicked
know.
a drop of beer on your pants a month ago. You're now drunk, is what it is now. So, anyway, that's why we don't want to do fucking public service announcements right there. Podcast One. That's the reason why, because it's just, we're not the guys for it. We it's a horrible, serious thing. You don't want us talking about it. We're comedians.
I drink while doing this.
Find someone who does. Find someone who is serious in the world. We're not. We're comedians. So anyway, his blood alcohol level is 0.06. Now 0.05. The way they do it in Massachusetts, 0.05 and below, the person is considered not impaired at all. Okay. 0.10 and above is impaired as fuck no matter what. And 0.06 to 0.09 is judgment call. That's
Viewer's
where
discretion.
Yes, that is where police can presume alcohol has been consumed, obviously, and they can charge a person with drunken driving based on their actions and their judgment. Yeah, if they pull you over and they feel like it, then you're arrested at that point. So this is
like that here now.
Yeah,
where
they can arrest you if you have no blood alcohol. They're just like, we thought he's on something. So he's arrested here. He's arrested. He immediately pleads not guilty to charges of vehicular homicide, drunk driving, leaving the scene of a personal injury crime, and a couple others that they're going to add on later on. But that's the immediate one. He's released on $100,000 personal recognizance after his arraignment, and they set a court date for later on in May. So, this is, wow. Charles issues a statement immediately through his lawyer that day, that afternoon, the next day.
He's got to beg to keep his job.
Wow. He's got to fucking he's got some damage control too.
For sure.
I mean, this just looks terrible. This is before the major drunk driving thing too. There were still the friends don't let friends drive drunk and all that shit, but it wasn't like it is now.
Right.
Now it's like if someone has 3 beers and drives, people are just like they just took a baby and popped its head off in the middle of the street and spiked it on the ground.
Right.
Like literally, that's how people are. Like I'm talking normal people. Your friends will be like that. Whereas back then it was like, you're get home. You know, it was just a different time. It doesn't mean it's better or right. I'm just saying it was different. It wasn't
like that through 2000. I mean,
it wasn't considered like it is now.
It took a while for it to get to where it is now, but now it's, now rightfully
it's severe.
So, but
well, now they've gone too far.
Yeah.
I feel, and I get that, yes, people die, and this is a perfect example of it and all that sort of thing, but now you can kill someone a lot, but if you didn't, you didn't. That's the thing that we don't get. And I'm not going to get into the fucking whatever of this, the finer points of this, but you're treating someone as if they have done something that they actually didn't do because that could have happened, which isn't really how we judge things in the world.
The same way with everything.
It's kind of the other.
If I eat a bunch of M&Ms, are you going to yell at me because I might get diabetes? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a weird thing. So whatever, it doesn't matter. It's just different now, and it's better that less people drive drunk now.
Obviously,
let's just say that it's the less people driving drunk, the fucking better. So he ends up issuing a statement through Dennis J. Kelly, who is his attorney. And his statement is that he is, quote, devastated by the unfortunate accident and wishes to extend his sincere, heartfelt sympathies to the families of the 2 young women who were killed.
That's a disgusting statement.
It's a disgusting statement, but it's one you have to make. You have to. There's no choice.
You got to say way more than that.
You got to say way more than that. But I think I assume his attorney is like, that's what we're putting out. Just, you're sorry.
Right.
You feel sympathy, and that's enough.
Yeah.
They said too, he didn't travel to that next morning. Yeah. He doesn't travel with the team. He's got shit to do. He's busy. They said it was uncertain what his status would be with the team at that point. The Celtics said. The Celtics coach Chris Ford said, quote, the entire team is saddened by this news and feels deep sympathy for the families of the students. Of course, everyone on the team expresses their concern for Charles at this time. Deepest regrets in the most unfortunate incident that happened this morning. So they're all hedging their bets, though. None of them are like, he's a fucking asshole. Right. They're all like, well, we'll
let's
find
see which
out.
Side comes out.
Yeah, let's see how his dribble does next week. I feel like it's very silver in this case of they're not gonna, but also too, they're not gonna throw a guy out. Whatever. So the general manager of the Celtics said that he spoke to Smith and, quote, conveyed to him their emotional support in this most difficult time.
Yeah.
I bet the girls' families could probably use
maybe you should have made that phone call.
Some emotional support as well. His agent here, Lewis Cunningham, Charles's agent, said that Charles was remorseful about the accident, and Lewis said, quote, I think he would have much preferred to die himself than for anything to have happened to those girls.
Well, yeah.
Is what they said. And I will say this about Charles Smith. In this whole thing, this and outside of a couple incidents, that this seems completely an aberration for him. Like he is considered a good guy. Everybody says he's a good guy. He's a helpful teammate. He's a nice guy. He does charity shit. He does work with kids. He's not a fucking asshole. And the players too. They're like, that guy's kind of what everyone was like, that's not the guy you expect to hear this about. Right. And everybody said that. Like, he's the last guy on the team you'd expect this shit from. Right. So it's an odd thing that wait till you hear the end of this. Stick around to the end of the story, because you're just like, where the fuck did that come from in your whole life? So,
but I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer's neighbors probably said he was quiet too.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not saying that he's Jeffrey Dahmer.
Everyone in school said he's a fucking weirdo. If they spend any time with him, they travel with him, they sit in the locker room with him, and they're all like, no, he's a solid dude. Like, I don't understand this shit. Right. He was just there once in a while, passing through, waving. So,
people said that Gacy made a hell of a fried chicken.
Well, yeah, they also said he was quite a personable fella. You're a very Gacy-like fella. You know what I mean? Like you could have boys buried somewhere. I'm not sure. If you do, I have to do an episode on you. I'm sorry. I apologize. So while he is awaiting all of his, the consequences of this, and while this is all floating, he signs with another basketball team.
Really?
He's got to play ball still. He's got to make a paycheck. Yeah. So this is gone from the Celtics. They let that 10-day contract expire, and they're not anxious to renew it. Odd. Weird. They didn't have a full year contract there waiting for him.
Did they come out and say the streets of Boston are now safe?
Yeah, everything is safe. We're good. Resign. So he ends up signing with the Albany Sharpshooters.
Oh, that's not the same team.
That is not even close to the Boston Celtics. No. The Albany Sharpshooters of the Global Basketball Association.
Oh,
now, my first question is, you have the entire globe and you pick fucking Albany? That's number one. That's not global.
Yeah.
If we're talking a global thing, Albany is not on the list, my friend. Well, Paris, Milan, London, Tokyo, and Albany we're going to do.
Technically, Albany is on the globe, but...
Yeah, I mean, no.
No.
I don't even know if that's Albany, New York, or Albany, Georgia. I'm not even fucking sure. But it's bullshit. The Albany Sharpshooters he signs with here. Wow. So he leads the league in scoring.
Wow.
As he should, being a former NBA star and a fucking All-American Georgetown player and everything.
Yeah.
So that good for you. Woohoo. You lead the league with the Albany Sharpshooters, the Global Basketball Association, which, by the way, shut down after this year. Of course. The whole league, not just the team. Stupid. 1992, he has a daughter.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, because that's what you need right now when your life is in turmoil and shambles and up in the air and awaiting, possibly going to prison and everything else.
I mean, he did take 2 girls off the planet, so he's replacing
them. He's going to put one back on it. Good for him. He names her, I'm going to say Shayla or Sheila. I'm not sure. Sheyla.
How bananas would that have been if he named her Anne?
Anne. Oh, no. No. Named her some Vietnamese shit is on the birth certificate. So 91 through 94, he doesn't play much after that Albany Sharpshooters thing, and we'll find out why he doesn't play. He has court.
Oh, boy.
He has court. Now, he is facing, when he goes to court, if convicted of the charges up front, which is vehicular manslaughter, he is facing 20 years in prison for each vehicular manslaughter charge and 15 years for each count of motor vehicle homicide.
Oh, boy.
So he's facing a good 70 years in the pen. I mean, not if it was all consecutive. And I mean, that's if the judge really wanted to fucking bang him and whatever. But he ends up being the felony drunk driving charges end up being exonerated of, because they can't, no matter what, they can charge him with like a vehicular homicide, but they can't charge him with a felony drunk driving if his blood alcohol is actually under the limit.
Got it.
So that they get rid of that charge because they know they can't win it. Now, there's conflicting claims of this night. There's a lot of witnesses that saw this. This was on the street. They don't know whether he was speeding. That's the other thing. Some people say he was speeding. Some people say he wasn't speeding. They don't know whether the traffic light was red or green. That's the other thing. Once this happened, everything went haywire, and everybody lost the thread.
You're not looking up when there's bodies everywhere.
So they didn't know if they were jaywalking, and he went and just wasn't paying attention and just figured green light and kept going, or if, get the fuck out of the street. I don't know what it is, or if he blew a red light, just totally blew it, and they were going with the walk signal. Who knows? So that's all up in the air. But everybody that comes up and basically says in court that he's always been a good guy. He's always been a good citizen. He's popular with teammates. He's a good student. Even at Georgetown, he was a good student. He earned a sociology degree from Georgetown. He was always considered a quiet, reserved, studious type of guy that nobody thought anything bad of. John Thompson came to court.
Really?
John Thompson came to court with that big motherfucker in court. That voice booming through a courtroom. That's awesome. That is, he could be a judge. I would listen to him. Tell me you wouldn't listen to John Thompson judging some shit. Be like, okay.
Doesn't do anything.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, sir. You are giant and loud and scary. I love you. So he said that Georgetown, he was a great player for him. He had an excellent reputation there with everybody. He found, and also he said in court, he found it, quote, extremely difficult to believe Charles could knowingly hit anybody and drive away, which we know he did. So it's difficult, as whether you believe it or not. He stopped, looked at it, and kept fucking driving. Right. So I don't think he missed 2 bloody girls on a curb.
No.
So yeah, but they all showed up, said, that's why I chose him for the Olympic team, because he could represent our country as much as on the court and blah, 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 and all that horse shit, which, you got to say nice things.
Yeah, that's going to be said.
His defense lawyer here, Dennis Kelly, kept the same one. Also said another vehicle, their excuse was that another car prevented Charles from seeing the people crossing the street.
Oh.
He said there was another car blocking his view. I don't know if the car was in front of him, and whatever the case may be, that's the excuse of it. He didn't see the people, which no one thinks he ran them down on purpose.
Right.
I don't think there's a soul on earth who said, shit, cool, crosswalk full of chicks, I'm going to fucking gas that shit. No one thinks that. So whether it was a red light, wasn't paying attention, none of that shit matters. Yeah. The problem is that he drove away.
Right.
That's my main issue with him. I mean, once something happens, it happens, but fuck, man. So he said, couldn't see. His lawyer asks in the end in his thing, he wants a suspended sentence from this whole thing, saying that Charles has spent so much time working with children and still has a lot to offer back to the community. Well, that's what he said. I'm sure that's true. District Attorney, though, Thomas Mundy, told jurors in his closing arguments that Smith left the students to, quote, die in the gutter, and that his actions were absolutely obscene and disgusting. To die in the gutter, that sounds bad.
That's a good prosecutor.
Especially after you've shown big blown up pictures of these girls in their joyous time, smiling, high school graduation, that whole thing, and you're like, he snuffed out 2 innocent lives and left them to die in the gutter.
A family that doesn't speak English, that are an American dream story.
Oh, yeah, these poor people came here with nothing and had a daughter who's just you could really lay it on there. I mean,
tears flowing.
You could bring a violinist in, and people wouldn't even think twice about it. They go, no, this is good accompaniment. It needs this.
Yeah, it's appropriate as fuck.
Yeah, it would just be. So the jurors, in the end, they find. Well, also too, he brought in. We'll get to that in a second. The jurors end up finding him innocent of manslaughter, which is the most serious charge, and they make no finding on whether he was drunk, because there's another charge for there. The jury was not allowed to hear expert testimony about the significance of his blood alcohol level, which was because this is the problem. It's 0.06 2 hours after the accident.
Oh.
He passed a field sobriety test, but if you drink a lot and you're drunk, you can pass a field sobriety test. That's alcoholics they function when they're drunk. I don't know if he's an alcoholic. I'm not making that accusation.
A couple field ones that I for sure probably should have been to jail.
But that's not good.
No.
Jesus, Jimmy, stop doing that. So
not recently.
No, obviously not recently. Yeah, everybody save your tweets. Yeah. This was 15 fucking years ago when he was doing other shit that was stupid enough already.
It was way worse than that.
So this was 2 hours later, though. Yeah. So that's 2 hours is a long time.
That's at least 2 drinks that your body digests.
Fuck, man, that's a long period. So they're saying that, it would have been at least 0.10% is what prosecutors are trying to say, but they wouldn't allow that testimony because there's no way to scientifically know exactly how fast his body processes alcohol. So, but he was fucking hammered. Let's be honest here. He was drunk. He was drunk and he fucking plowed through some girls, probably not paying attention. So his Georgetown coach here, John Thompson, because they find him guilty of some shit here, and so they're going to sentencing quickly. John Thompson comes in, and also Celtics chief executive Dave Gavitt all appeared as character witnesses for him. So this is what I mean. This is a petition signed by 300 people from Albany, Georgia, from the Albany Sharpshooters, from their fans and organization, all the people in the community that he's worked with and all this shit, kids and shit, all was presented on his behalf. But on the other hand, that's all nice and dandy, but then at the same time, the victims' families get to make a statement, which kind of puts all of that meaning a lot less. They had one of them was very angry here. An uncle of the Dartley girl shouted at Smith, quote, "Do you see their pictures? Do you see them?" And Dartley's mother screamed at another one, "Bring back Michelle, bring her back." So it's not good. Not good at all. That they were yelling at people who were testifying for him as a character witness. Smith actually, in court, makes a statement to the victims' families. He says, quote, "We were praying for you all to be able to get through this, no matter what happens." He said, "I will always be praying for you." That's what he said to the family, which I don't think that helps much. Now, the judge in this case, he's got more shit to say. I would say. He says he compliments him on his life. He said that Smith's life before this has been remarkable. Is the word he used. They talked about his childhood, being shitty and having a poor upbringing and all that. He said you overcame that. You went to a good college. You graduated from college, which not all athletes do. You became a professional basketball player. That's terrific. You work with kids. Awesome. But he also said that he's guilty of a, quote, horrible error in judgment that cost 2 lives, and he said that he, quote, has no choice but to incarcerate you. He did say, the judge said, quote, "I do not intend to destroy you, though." So that's not bad.
Thoughtful.
He rejected a prosecution recommendation for 9 years, rejects that, and he says, "You, sir, may fuck off." 4.5-year sentence he gets for this. Convicted of vehicular homicide and leaving the scene of an accident. 4.5 years in prison he gets for this, which is not fucking bad. I'm sorry. He could have,
but it's not good.
No, I mean, he could have got a lot more. Very easy. I don't think anybody would have batted a fucking eye at it.
Nobody would have felt bad
after that. So he's sent to prison after that. No released on your own recognizance now. He serves, they call it South Bay. It's the one, I can't remember the name of the prison here. I had it. It's near City Hospital there. Smith says, Jesus Christ. He says, let's do it in their own words here on this. Let's do it in their own words and find out exactly what he says. He says in their own words, quote, "My whole life changed then. I'm not a bad person. It's not something I tried to do. I wish I could do something to change what happened, but I can't. It was something that could happen to anyone." True. Well, anyone also. It helps if you're driving with the blood alcohol level high. Oh, by the way, didn't mention this. He didn't mention, and back then they didn't make a big deal out of it. He was taking fucking codeine also. So he's drinking and taking codeine at the same time because he had a bad tooth, he said. So he was on codeine, and they didn't even make a big deal about that at the trial. Nowadays, that would have been a huge deal.
Ridiculous.
So you were on booze and codeine mixed together. Then it was like, oh, well, he had a little whatever. That's fine. Worry about the booze.
He's running syrup back then.
So he's drinking and having codeine in his system, which means he's pretty fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty fucked up. So not terrific there. He was embarrassed of being in prison. He asked that his family not visit him in jail to see him. He said he could stick it out, and he couldn't handle having his family see him like that. Just in prison, I would say, which is not
it's a vulnerable time.
You're not at your best, I would say. He said, "I called them every week, but I wouldn't have been able to handle it if they came up. If I saw them, I would want to go home with them, and I knew that wasn't going to happen, so I only let them come once."
Well, that's selfish now.
Yeah.
He turned it into himself there.
He turned it into, it's all about me. The one exception that he let them come was after Reggie Lewis's funeral.
Really?
Reggie Lewis, the Boston Celtics star, died. He had a weird heart problem.
I think that's the only time we ever saw a man die on court.
Yeah, well, it wasn't during a game. It was during a practice.
Was it?
Yeah, he just dropped in practice.
Are you sure that wasn't a game?
No, pretty positive.
I saw it happen.
He just dropped in practice.
Not on TV. Not on. No. I saw it on SportsCenter.
I think. Well, they probably had footage of him falling down.
Sure,
in the practice. They tape footage. They tape practices. I mean, I'm sure they had.
It felt like that was a game.
But I thought it was. But either way, he dropped dead. He had a weird heart problem and some congenital weird thing going on in his heart. Nothing he could have done about it. It exploded or whatever the fuck happened to into it. So he said it was the funeral for Reggie Lewis. My mom and sister went to the service for him, like to represent him, because he was actually really good friends with Reggie Lewis.
Gotcha.
Reggie Lewis came to visit him in prison.
Oh, really?
On multiple occasions, including a week before he died.
Really?
He came to visit him. Also, Patrick Ewing came to visit him. What? Patrick Ewing, because he was a Georgetown guy that he knew, and he didn't even play with Patrick Ewing. He came the year after Ewing left, but there's they give
the
back.
Alumni thing.
Yeah, Dikembe Mutombo, Alonzo Mourning, Reggie Williams. These guys all stopped by multiple times, not just once. They would come and visit him all the time in jail. Sherman Douglas, who we talked about, he said he took a cab. A cab could come see him a bunch of times to see him. It's insane. So
That's
all these people went to see him all the time. Also, Larry Bird came to see him.
No way.
Robert Parrish, Kevin Gamble, Chris Ford, Jan Volk, who's the executive, the coach, Dave Gavitt, who's the top executive, ML Carr. All these guys are all top level executives, and they came a lot. Some people came. They said some people came once. People like Reggie Lewis came all the time, and like Ewing was there a bunch of times. Larry Bird came a couple times. Like these guys were just, let's stop by the prison and see Charles. Like, that's what I mean. Where he has to be a decent guy in context, obviously.
Yeah, they all feel bad for him because he made a terrible decision.
We don't hear this a lot with athletes. Once they're in jail, they're like, oh yeah, that guy's a fuck up and whatever. But they're all like going. We never hear all of these top tier athletes going to visit a guy in prison.
Right.
It's so fucking
you don't
weird.
Hear everybody going to visit Michael Vick.
No, that's what I mean. That's why it's a weird thing.
Yes.
Charles said, quote, Reggie Lewis came to see me 4 days before he died. I was so glad I saw him one more time. He said they talked about basketball and shit like that, and that was about it.
You could have saved his life, sir. You should have told him to go get his heart checked out.
Yeah. Hey, how you feeling there? How's your ticker doing?
Right.
You feel all right? And weird?
Your tone's a little gray.
Let me ask you a question. You got a good rhythm going on? That's all I'm asking in your chest here. So they wouldn't let him attend the funeral, obviously. He said there was no special treatment in prison, none of that. He said plenty of other prisoners had friends who died and they didn't get to go to the funeral, so he was fine with that. He said that he had a hard time. The one guy, the ML Carr, he said, quote, when I first went to see Charles, I sensed he had a feeling of shame. That was the shock of how did I get here? And I think he adjusted the best he could. But after a couple times, I felt it was better to write than visit.
Yeah.
It felt bad for him. John Thompson also, John Thompson told Charles to call him collect every day. He said, you call me every day, collect, and I'll talk to you. He said the first time Smith did, he said that Thompson broke down and cried. John Thompson said, I couldn't help but cry on the phone with him. He said, quote, I found it easier to write him a note.
Yeah.
So that's what Charles said about John Thompson, because he didn't want to hear his coach be upset.
Yeah.
So he didn't call him anymore. He said that his friends were worried about how he would fare in prison, if they would fuck with him or how it would work. The only thing they said that he got special treatment was like when Patrick Ewing came to visit, they'd give him a special room to meet in.
Well, yeah.
But that was more for Patrick Ewing.
Right.
Because they didn't want everybody.
Safety.
Exactly. They didn't want people bothering him and clogging up the works of the prison here. Also, Larry Bird comes to prison. You got to take him in a separate room, probably.
How about we don't get a filed down toothbrush in Larry Bird's neck?
Larry Bird between his fourth and fifth rib.
I'm sure that these people gamble on games, and if the guy that is quote unquote responsible for that, losing you all your ramen noodles, right?
God damn it. Jesus Christ. The one guy, as his friend said, quote, anything can happen in there about prison. Quote, obviously he was going to get attention. I was just hoping he wouldn't get special treatment because that can cause you problems too.
That's true.
And that's true too. Yeah. And he said he didn't. The whole time he's there, he has no incidents, no disciplinary measures, no fights, nothing like that. They said that they watch him closely. They said this prison is pretty well watched. And also they said Smith fit in very well. Okay. Also, he took a job tutoring inmates for their GED, the high school equivalency test. So he did that. He signed up for the gym so he could play some basketball. He did a course on drafting and printing. Okay. He's not an idiot. He has a fucking sociology degree from Georgetown. Like
he's bettering himself a little bit.
He has way more education than I do. Right. So I mean, whatever. He made some friends with some guys. We'll talk about some prison buddies. A guy named John Lewis, who's a weightlifter. He said he played dominoes with another guy named Louis Barboza. He organized organized basketball games with a guy named Frank Horn, and he says Frank Horn could definitely play in the CBA tomorrow.
How about that?
He said he's that good. He said the Barboza guy that he was hanging out with, Luis Barboza, his domino partner, says, quote, Charles stayed to himself in the beginning, but you couldn't interpret it as snobbish. It was never I'm better than you, I'm an NBA star. When you try to use your status to get special treatment, that will get you hurt in here real quick.
Shit, yeah.
So he came in calm and cool and just kept to himself, which was the best way to go about it. The only thing that they said they gave him a little extra private time in the gym to do drill work before everybody came to the court to play basketball, because that would be a mess and just 100 guys playing basketball. So they give him like 10 minutes to do some like actual drills that he did. And he'd do like dribbling drills, and he knew how to practice. He's been a ball player for a long time.
Set up some
cones. Yeah, seriously. He says, Smith said, quote, I would have never believed there would be so many talented people in prison. Printers, artists, writers, barbers, they could do something with their lives. He said of his cellmates, quote, they have talent. Frank Horn can play basketball. I told him I'd help him when he gets out.
That's the idea. Around this country, no matter what place you go to, there are people that are talented. They just don't use that for gain. They use other means, which sometimes is illegal, and they get caught.
That's what happens. And sometimes they get lucky and their podcast works. You never fucking know. That's the thing. Who the hell knows?
Who knows what we'd be doing if it wasn't for this? Sometimes an artist doesn't make any fucking money, so they've got to go do something else.
That's the thing. Now, that Horn guy was scheduled to be released a little later, but he said that he appreciates Charles' optimism, but he doesn't think he's going to have a basketball career. He said, quote, Charlie was always wondering what kind of life we'd have when we got out. It particularly bothered him with the younger kids. He'd tutor them, watch them get out, then read the paper how they were in more serious trouble than before. That's one of the examples of how he was out of place there. He didn't understand how it works for most guys. He didn't get that. Right. He figured this guy's talented. He's getting out. Oh, he's going to do great now. And then he'd be like, oh, shit, they're back. What the fuck, man? And it's like, well,
the bank?
That's the cycle. Yeah. That's it. They're not NBA players. Yeah. Which you think he would understand being from D.C., right. But
and
no.
a sociology major.
And a sociology major. Yeah, he would know that shit. The John Lewis guy, who he said has lots of talent that he was talking about, he ends up being picked up 2 weeks after he gets out of jail on a charge of assault with a dangerous weapon, and was arraigned there. It's a mess, man. They basically said that one of the guys said, I give Charles all the credit possible for walking into our world and being able to walk out just as strong. Yeah. So he does 2.5 years. Okay. He's released in July of 1994 after 28 months. So not quite 2.5 years, which 4.5. That's a lot, man. He's released from prison. He's offered a job as boys basketball coach at Spingarn High School in Washington, D.C. right away.
That's nice of him.
Hey, you just got out of jail for killing teenagers. Right. Would you like to coach some instead? None of them are girls. They weren't teenagers. They were 20. Sorry. Much different.
Barely not teenagers.
He said that maybe later, but not yet. He said he has decided he wanted to give basketball another try. He says he wants to restore his life. He says he feels that he's sorry that those two young women couldn't do that. And he says, quote, I pray for their families every day. Mm-hmm. They tell him,
pray for them to forgive me.
I pray for them to forgive me. Yeah. He said some days in prison, some days I said I was going to play ball and then I'd say no. So he was very didn't know what he wanted to do. Yeah. Gets out of prison, 94, 95. He's in a bunch of different leagues here. We'll talk about that. He played basketball whenever he could. He played summer basketball with a bunch of old Georgetown guys like Ewing and Mourning and all that kind of guy, all that kind of shit. He ends up playing in Rockford for a minute again, back with the Peaches. Yeah. And then he's traded to the Hartford Hellcats of the CBA as well. He says, quote, I work as hard as I can every day, and I'll hope I'll get the NBA chance someday. He said, now the coach of the team of the Hellcats said, there are some guys in the NBA now getting second, third, fourth chances. Smitty's paid dearly. He'll never forget that. It will be with him the rest of his life. He's going to try to make the best of it. Mm-hmm. He's trying. So the coach is trying to he's like, I don't care. He's so much better than all these other pieces of shit I have. I don't care what he did. Right. I really don't. It doesn't matter. Killing old ladies, great. Whatever. Good. They don't have that much time left anyway. Next, I could make an excuse for anything you throw at me. What do you got? He says, Smith, though, he says he knows he can never change what happened. And he says, in their own words, let's do it in their own words here and see how he justifies this. He says, in their own words, quote, when I was incarcerated, my plan all along was to continue playing. But then I got out and my mind started playing tricks on me. I asked the Lord when I was in prison to give me the strength to deal with everything when I got out. It's something that has scarred me for life. Yeah, you and everybody else too. Yeah. You and their families. And there's a lot of people scarred from this.
There were 10 other people that night that could have been in that fucking crosswalk.
That's what I mean. Yeah, what are they thinking? Shit, that guy just missed me. So he goes to play with the Hartford Hellcats, who also were the Connecticut Pride. And with Hartford Hell, it's a big difference. Connecticut Pride, Hartford Hellcats. He really changed shit a lot. They previously also known as the Albany Patroons. As we've talked about many. For some reason, the Albany Patroons have come up a lot. The Capital Region Pontiacs, and then the Hartford Hellcats. And they joined the International Basketball League when the CBA folded in 2000-2001. Okay. So that's what happened there. He makes the CBA All-Star team with Hartford.
Look at this.
So look at you.
Back on an upswing.
Back on the upswing. Grace, too. So he says, in their own words on this one, it's short. He says, it feels good to be back playing ball again. He says, the team is starting to come along and win some games, and I feel like I'm coming along pretty good. If I didn't feel I had the ability to play in the NBA, I wouldn't be here now. So he's trying to get his life back together. I'm sure he's living in Hartford. He's playing for the fucking Hellcats. First of all, how do you gather your shit from prison? I'm saying just you get out of prison and then you have to, first of all, figure out how to do basketball and how to do shit. But then you have nothing left. He was renting a car. I don't think he had a car. He's got to get I don't think he can get a driver's license. He's got to get things together. He's got to get an apartment. He's got to get food. He's got to get like toilet paper holders and practical, like logistical shit.
That is the hardest part of life.
That's so hard to figure all that out, especially if you're trying to play basketball. You're not making a lot of money.
You're a convicted felon.
You're a convicted felon. You got a lot of bad things going for you, and the one thing you don't have time to do at that point is to interior design on your house. You just don't have time. So luckily somebody can sense when people are in trouble, and he came knocking at the door, and it's Dexter Manley, interior decorator from New York City, and he says, how is it you've come to arrive here? I mean, seriously, like okay, let's start. Calm down. First of all, don't get all in a titter about the whole thing. I understand. I understand losing to Yugoslavia is weighing heavily on you. I get that. But you had it all. You went to Georgetown. Georgetown's nice. It's beautiful in D.C. I love it. So those old lofts to decorate. They're very nice.
Please change colors in the spring.
Oh, they change colors. It's beautiful. It snows there. It's got everything. Yeah. It's the capital. It's everything's happening. It's wonderful. You have the world is your oyster. And then what do? You have some drinks and codeine. What is codeine? What are you drinking? Codeine? You're a professional. You, sir, are white trash. I'm sorry. You're white trash. It's white trash. I'm sorry. You're drinking codeine and alcohol and just driving around in the middle of the night, all trashy, like playing for the Rockford Peaches. This whole thing, this apartment is beneath me, by the way. What is this, 700 square feet? It's very small. It feels dingy in here. I smell mold. Goodbye. Just goodbye. And poof. And he's gone in a poof of cheetah skin and purple feathers and glitter. He is gone, and Charles is way confused now. He said,
Danny Ferry?
Was Danny Ferry come visit my ass again? Shit. Damn. He got smaller. Motherfucker shrunk. Danny Ferry. That's amazing. So January 1995, the fluff piece starts.
Oh, boy.
The fluff pieces start. And they start fast and furious, man. There's one about how he must grapple with the mistake he made, and that, he's dealing with this his whole life, and this is a sentence for him too. Yeah. And it's just horrible. We got to do it in their own words on this, because it's kind of self-serving. So I think it's good time to do it. In their own words, quote, There will always be a scar. I wish there was something I could do to bring the victims back, but all I can do is pray every night for their families. I think about it all the time. It has been very difficult mentally, and I pray I have the strength to deal with it. My situation could have happened to anyone. To you, to the people reading this story. I know I'm not a bad person. I wouldn't wish this experience on the worst people or their families. The hardest part is how it affects your family.
You wouldn't?
No, apparently not. Whenever someone says, I know I'm not a bad person, that's not a good sign. No. But outside of this night, he's never displayed behavior of a bad person. Yeah. That's the fucked up part.
Well, I'd wish that on some bad people.
Yeah.
I'd wish that. I'd wish a bad person kills 2 other bad people.
That would be great.
I'd giggle my balls off.
Three birds with one stone? That's not bad. Now you're talking. Unfortunately, I don't think these girls are bad people.
No.
So more fluff. They talk about his coaches from CBA say, quote, he's very strong for a guy that skinny. He's so good. They said he's clearly too good for the CBA. He had one night that week, he had 25 points and 18 assists, and then he had 28 points and 9 rebounds. Yeah. They're talking about his stats, and he's an all-star. It's just... what's going on?
It doesn't matter. Your crime is too public. You took the lives. He may be too good for them. That may be true. He's just not good enough for the NBA.
No,
and they can't do that.
He's great for the CBA. Yeah. That's terrific. And then they ask him about was it good playing with the Celtics back then? He's like, what the fuck do you think is his answer? What do you think? It's a goddamn NBA with a championship team, you dummies. What do you think?
So great. Larry Bird came to visit me after I murdered people.
Jesus. He said, quote, it was an unbelievable experience. I played with 4 or 5 guys who are going to be in the Hall of Fame. I learned a lot from them all. Unfortunately, not how to drive. That's the only thing he forgot how to learn. He says the CBA, he likes to call it the League of Dreams. He said people have come through this ranks, the coaches that have come through, Phil Jackson, George Karl, John Starks and Anthony Mason both came from there and made it in the NBA. And he goes through a bunch of other people, Elliot Perry and Donald Royal and
those people
the Hustlers.
No, they didn't.
I don't think any of them killed anybody.
Ran over anybody in a fucking street.
No, not at all. Not at all. His coach says, quote, we're here to give guys second chances who didn't get drafted, guys who weren't right with the right team, or who weren't skilled enough when they came out of college, and guys like Smitty and murderers. Anyway, opportunity, not quite the right fit, killed a guy last week, whatever. We'll take it all. The CBA, the Silverest League going. You want silver-haired middle-aged white men? The home of them are right here at the CBA.
You're damn right.
Whatever shit you throw out, we'll fucking plaster it on the court here. Wow. He ends up to go on to play for the Omaha Racers, which were based in Omaha, Nebraska, obviously. They were the Wisconsin Flyers, then the Rochester, and then they were in Rochester, Minnesota, and then they became the Racers down in Omaha. Very fucking exciting here. They ended up going out of business when the CBA did. Also, he plays for the Florida Sharks and the Florida Beach Dogs, which are probably the same team. They were originally the Rapid City Thrillers, which they call a semi-professional basketball team. Semi. I don't know what's up with that. Very, very strange. They can trace their history back to when they were the Tampa Bay Thrillers, which is amazing. And then they changed to Florida in 87. They moved to West Palm Beach, where they became the Florida Beach Dogs. And then they finally folded after losing to the Oklahoma City Cavalry one year, and they were defunct in 2000. I love the history of these teams. That always cracks me up, the history of these teams now. October 5th, 1995... signs as a free agent with the Philadelphia 76ers.
No kidding.
No shit.
He got back in.
They fucking signed him as a free agent. How amazing is that? That's insane. He hasn't even played in 3 years.
No kidding.
Killed a guy, but he's got so highly touted that there's probably people going, come on, give this guy a chance. There's probably a bunch of people in their GM's ears going, this guy, man, give him a chance. Signs as a free agent, but it's a 10-day deal. And October 13th, 95, he's waived by the 76ers.
That's enough.
That didn't last long.
We've seen plenty.
That's 8 days. They were like, we keep him any more, he's going to kill somebody. That's how it works with those deals. December 5th, 95, though, less than 2 months later, he is signed as a free agent with the Minnesota Timberwolves, who were terrible in the mid-90s, and they needed fucking help with somebody. They had Kevin Garnett, Tom Gugliotta, Christian Laettner, a bunch of guys who should be good. Andrew Lang. A bunch of these guys where you're like, well, that's not
too bad.
Terry Porter, Sam Mitchell, J.R. Ryder.
That's a great team.
He's playing with our buddy Isaiah Ryder, too. too. Not bad. Sean Rooks, I remember him.
He was great.
He was good. So I mean, and Charles Smith, of course. Yeah. So he Spud Webb also on that team.
Christ.
Yeah, Spud. You got the Spudster on that team. Not
everybody's recognizable except him.
Except him. That's right. Team is not that good. They fire their head coach in the beginning of the season and bring
Carl?
in. That was Bill Blair, and they bring in Flip Saunders, who was there for a long time. Kevin McHale is their GM,
right?
So that is the reason why
now it makes
sense. Yes, and I'm curious to see who the 76ers GM was, but I assume it's an ex-Hoya or an ex-Celtic or something like that. So Kevin McHale, they get in his ear. He signs him here. They end up not that great, 26-56 that season. Not good at all.
That's like the worst team in NBA.
They were bad
season that year. Probably
they were fifth in the Midwest division. So that tells you a lot, right there. That's like last place in that division. So ugly. They don't make the playoffs. Obviously, they were 25th of 29 in expected win losses for next year. That year. So 1995-1996 for Minnesota, he plays in 8 games, starts 0, 4.9 minutes per game. 0.08 points per game.
Not even one.
Not even a point a game.
Not even a free throw.
0.8 rebound or 0.8 points, 0.8 assists, 0.6 rebounds, 0.1 steals.
He got 6 points over 8 games, right?
So
that's
not terrific.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's not good, man. So it's kind of over for him, and that's his NBA career. It's over. 73 games total. He starts 0 NBA games, averages 8.1 minutes a game, 2.5 points per game, with 1 total rebound, 1.6 assists, and a half a steal a game. And that's his line. Not great.
His average per game is a half point more than people he's killed.
That's it. Yeah, pretty good. Female college students. Yeah. January 4th, 96. He's waived by the Timberwolves, so he lasts a month there, probably 10 days, I'm sure, or something like that. So he goes back to the Florida Beach Dogs and the Florida Sharks. He plays for the Belgrade Red Star, who is based in Serbia, obviously from fucking Belgrade.
Sounds like dog food.
Yeah, this is a really weird thing here. They are is it this team? Oh no, it's the other team. Never mind, because this is fucking hilarious. But yeah, they're a basketball team here, and also they're part of the Red Star Multi Sports Club. I don't know. It's the Adriatic Basketball Association, the ABA, in a whole nother way, baby. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, plays there. 97. He plays for Iraklis. That's not in Iraq.
That's not a pun on
Riaklis. It's a Greek team.
Okay.
A Greek professional basketball team.
I wish Iraq had a team and that was the name of it.
The Iraklis. That'd be amazing. Like the chickless.
Yeah.
So this is the basketball section of a multi-sport club, GS Iraklis. They won the Greek national championship in 28 and 35 and have reached the Greek Cup final 3 times. They've had a bunch of guys that Roy Tarpley played for this team, by the way. Another one of our boys there, Xavier McDaniel, who will be a future episode. There's a lot of guys played for them. Also the lacrosse Bobcats. He played for. That is not an international anything. It's a CBA team who was located in La Crosse, Wisconsin from 96 until 2001 when they went bankrupt. So that's that. This is the second CBA team to relocate to La Crosse. Why? Before that, they had the lacrosse Catbirds, and they didn't do any better.
They got cheese and beer. Let's go.
Yeah, it's so fucking weird. In 97, I just found this interesting. The Bobcats had a marketing campaign, featured commercials depicting lacrosse players. It's so weird. They had with like shitty team endorsed products and like a home shopping network parody.
No.
That was their thing. And the team's tagline was, quote, lousy endorsements, great basketball.
Is it like a fundraiser for a school where your kid comes home with wrapping paper catalogs?
It was a home shopping network parody of them. That was, buying. It was so
That's
stupid.
Awful.
Yeah.
Whose idea was that? I hope you're fired.
But the funny part is they didn't use any actual players since they filmed it in the off season, so they had to get tall actors to do it. Jesus Christ.
They don't recognize our players anyway, so here's Charles Smith.
Here's Charles Smith. Yeah. So that's that for them. 1998, he plays for Orense. Jesus, it's
French Canadian.
Club Orense Baloncesto. I don't know what the fuck that is. It's in Spain. It's a Spanish league team. He plays there. He also plays for Vaqueros de Bayamon, which is a Puerto Rican team, Puerto Rican basketball team in the
Cowboys. Vaqueros.
That's the Baloncesto Super Nacional based.
Yeah, super.
That's what they call it. Superior.
Okay.
I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Anyway, they're one of the most successful teams in the history of that league. That's the league, the BSN. They won 14 league championships overall. Wow. Then also he goes and plays in Italy for Napoli. He plays there. And they also folded in 2009, that team. So we'll find teams that fold anywhere. He also plays in 99. He plays for Obras Sanitarias. Jesus, which is an Argentinian team. His guy is racking up some miles, man. Yeah. He is racking up some fucking miles. Now, apart from basketball, this team has a basketball, a rugby team, chess, field hockey, swimming, tennis, and volleyball. All fall under this team's banner. I don't understand.
Like a sports center in a town somewhere, and you just do what? It's like a YMCA team.
That's basically what it is. We got everything. Sign up. What are you good at? Jesus Christ. He plays for in Messina in Sicily in 2000. So he goes from Argentina to Sicily, and then back to the lacrosse Bobcats in 2001. He just can't stay away. 2001, he plays in Belgium, actually, in the Ligue Basket for this team, professional team in Belgium here. They played a 5,600 seat arena there. Founded in 1967, so same year as him.
Yeah.
So not bad. So after 2001, though, that's basketball dries up for him. Nobody's calling anymore. Yeah. He's not the best player in the CBA. Right. He's not even the best player in Belgium. No. Once you're not the best player in Belgium anymore, it is time to hang it up.
I might be the best player in Belgium right now.
You could be right this minute. You never know, with very little practice even. So he calls it quits, hangs it up, goes back to Maryland, hangs out. They never go home. Ever fucking go home. He's breaking rules.
It ain't over yet.
He's got a big one coming here. So 2000, this is from about 2001 to 2002 to 2005, 6. No fucking clue. He's just floating around Maryland just dicking off. He doesn't get arrested that I know of or anything, but that's okay. In 2006, he starts being a bartender at a place called the My Place Bar in Mitchellville, Maryland.
Ouch.
Which sounds like a depressing...
He used to be a Celtic.
He used to be a Timberwolf, a Celtic, a 76er, and a Hoya. And now he's a My Place bartender. Everybody loved him. The owner of the bar said that he was, quote, happy and go lucky and popular with patrons.
Happy and go
lucky, both of them. So now he's back here. I mean, Jesus Christ, man. First of all, let's start from the beginning. These fucking girls, that sucks.
Yeah.
That really sucks.
That's horrible.
There's no way to not. They did nothing. They literally went out to, who the hell knows, get something to eat and come back.
Walking home,
man. And you can't get any more innocent than that. I mean, all of his fucking teammates and everybody that stuck up for him, that's tough. I mean, his family, they thought they had the best success story ever. He came from nothing, graduated from Georgetown. He's in the NBA. This is great. Even the Albany sharpshooters and everybody gave him a chance. All these bar people. I feel bad for all these people, Jimmy. I feel bad. But not nearly as bad as the multitude of Charles Smiths I found.
Oh, God.
I had to pick the funniest, so let's get on with it here. First one, Dr. Charles Smith, a neurologist in La Jolla, California.
Okay.
He doesn't want his name associated with that. Next, this is amazing. Charles Smith, a Georgetown student.
Oh, God.
A few years ago, an 18-year-old Georgetown student who was arrested when the police raided his dorm room to find a drug lab in there.
Oh, my God.
A cooler with dry ice, a canister of carbon dioxide, ammonia lighter fluid, and a turkey baster. They found all this shit. They found, they charged him with conspiracy to manufacture and possess DMT with the intent to distribute.
The date rape drug.
No, DMT.
What is that?
You're thinking of you're thinking of GHB.
Yeah.
DMT is like the That's the Joe Rogan talks about it all the time.
Oh, okay.
It's like when your brain dies,
right,
it's the shit that it releases to make you feel okay.
Endorphins, right.
To make you okay. So if you take that when you're not dying, terrific, I'm sure. Never had it, but it sounds wonderful. So I don't know. I don't want to be that fucked up, probably.
Okay.
But,
I made him out to be a much worse person making rape drugs.
No. This is just hallucinogen. He wants to trip with his friends. He's released to the custody of their father and will have to wear ankle bracelets while the whole thing proceeds.
Jesus.
He's a distinguished scholar, and he's a member of the National Honor Society, this kid. Also, Charles Smith, a retiree who volunteers as Santa Claus, who faces drug charges after police found a crack pipe and some heroin on him.
To our knowledge, has not killed anyone.
Has not killed a 66-year-old man, white beard, looks just like Santa Claus in full Santa Claus gear. Gets arrested for having a crack pipe, and then a search of his vehicle turned up more drug paraphernalia, including empty bags of crack and full bags of heroin found next to a hypodermic needle. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. Here's some hepatitis.
That could very easily be Bedpuddle's dad.
Holy shit. Most of all, though, Charles Smith, the ex-NBA player who you thought we were talking about, and so does everyone else when they read this. I feel bad for him, not only because he can't hit a fucking layup like his legs are broken in the playoffs, but also because what has this Charles Smith been doing? The other Charles Smith? Let's see. In 2009, he, after more than a decade as an entrepreneur, philanthropist, and motivational speaker, he became executive director of National Basketball Retired Players Association, where he takes on his greatest challenge, the welfare of former players.
Did he really?
Started a broad initiative called TAP, Transition Assistance Program, to offer personal and financial counseling to former players, along with a network of professionals to help them define a second career.
Unbelievable.
The players are lectured on topics, all sorts of topics, like his money and everything like that. Yes, he says, the other Charles Smith says, in professional sports, it's a drop kick and punt and you're out. He says, so he's trying to help people and doing great things.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, what's our Charles Smith up to during this same time? Well, October 21st, 2010, at his house in the 13,200 block of Lansdale's Hope Way in the Fairwood town of Fairwood, which is west of Bowie, Maryland.
Okay.
Neighbors hear gunshots ring out at the home around 12:30 a.m. They call police, and the police find a man wounded in the chest with multiple gunshot wounds on his porch.
Oh my God.
That's Charles Smith.
Oh no.
Shot the fuck up in the chest. He's taken to the hospital, listed in critical but stable condition, multiple gunshot wounds to the chest. The police say they do not believe the shooting's a random act at all, and trying to determine if the victor knew the shooter at the time. This is the night it happens. They release a description of the suspect, black male, 5'5", black hair, wearing desk clothing. I don't know what that is. And a red cap. I don't know. And possibly driving a brown SUV.
Okay.
At this point, they talk to his friends from the bar there at the My Place Sports Bar and Grill. One guy says, quote, he's not dead, by the way. He was a good man. They have their...
They got the ball bearers all
They're eulogizing
out.
him already. Quote, he was a good man. He loved his family, his wife and kids. This is so tragic. He's not dead, by the way. He's not dead. He might fucking wish he was, though.
Really?
Because the next day, some more shit comes out about this. This wasn't just, I'm an innocent man in my house. It turns out he was shot. The police find out he was shot because of alleged gambling and drug debts.
Oh, Jesus.
And also, he is now charged with drug crimes because the police returned to the scene to execute a follow-up search warrant for everything, make sure they got all the slugs and everything like that, and they recover a large quantity of cocaine and evidence of a full-blown gambling operation that he's got going. So he's selling cocaine and bookmaking now.
My Christ.
That's what he's doing with himself. Not terrific. He's originally charged with 1 count of possession of controlled substance with intent to distribute, 1 count of possession of a controlled dangerous substance, which is not marijuana, and 1 count of possession of drug paraphernalia. He's indicted by a grand jury After that, of 2 additional counts of one of a count of possession of a controlled substance and 1 count of manufacturing, distribution, and possession with the intent to distribute.
Oh, that's not good.
Which is not a good one there. The police said they found a, quote, large amount of cocaine in the house. Apparently, Smith was answering his phone for a minute from the press, and then he stopped answering the phone.
More of this.
He got out of jail from this because he was in the hospital, and then he went home. Smith's attorney, who's a different guy now, a guy named Jimmy Bell, he said, my client was a victim of an attempted home invasion. The police jumped to some conclusions, not based on evidence, but based on sloppy police work. He said, without question, Charles is innocent of the charges brought against him. Lots of cocaine.
Right.
Now, the problem here is that the police say that they believe the shooting was a result of a gambling dispute where he owed a bettor money. Somebody fucking won and he didn't pay off. So they came and shot his ass, which will happen when you owe people money. They said the investigation was ongoing. They found no shoot. He never told who shot him, even though he knows who shot him. He's probably got his name written down in a little fucking book.
Find that guy later.
No problem. Yeah, he doesn't say anything about that. Plus, who knows if the guy's a gangster or what. The police said they wouldn't specify exactly how much cocaine was recovered from the home, just that it was, quote, a considerable amount. Not personal use here. At the time of the shooting, police said the gambling operation was also a big deal. They said they had no idea how much cocaine was taken. Smith's lawyer says they have no idea how much cocaine was taken because the government would not provide him with the evidence. They had a conference here. The trial was scheduled for March, but something happened and he ended up making a deal on this.
Of course.
And I'm not sure exactly what the deal was. It wasn't a big public affair because he's a fucking bartender in Maryland now. He's not really that big of a deal anymore. So all I know is he made some kind of deal, and I don't think he ended up back in prison. I think he got some kind of, but you did get shot in the chest 3 times type of thing here. So that's, who knows what the fuck he's doing. He's out there, place a bet, grab some lines. I don't know. Watch out in the crosswalks. Charles Smith is out there.
You're about to feel the wrath of a menace.
About to feel the wrath of a menace.
You did not finish the job,
You didn't feel the job. That's the thing, man.
That is crazy.
That's crazy time. And it's fucked up because he's perfect citizen, does one stupid thing, everything's fine, and then he's like, fuck it, I'll sell coke. And the gambling thing I could see too, because that could start out casual, taking bets and whatever. But
and as a bartender, it's easy just to take.
And it's so easy to sell coke as a bartender.
Fuck
Every bartender I've ever known sells something.
You got the fucking game on right behind your head.
Man.
$50 says he misses this free throw.
I could see that happening.
Easy.
So I can't, even though I'm so mad at him for killing those fucking girls and driving away. He's a hard guy to hate though, because it's just, he's not.
He made a bad decision.
He's somewhere between idiot and asshole. Yeah. He's not quite either way.
It's a sprinkle of both.
Yeah, it's what I mean. It's a little column A, little column B. He's not like Buck Zumhoff, where you're like, I want this guy's fucking balls skewered and shown to him. Like, it's not a different thing. Well, can't get enough of him. I don't know how you couldn't.
It's all cheap.
It's all cheap. First of all, the Georgetown top 100 players of all time, he is number 12 on their list.
Is that right?
Number 12 of their best all time. I could name fucking 10 of them that are great right off the top. So
that's
he fell
pretty
in.
Impressive.
That's impressive. It really is. Also, you can get a Charles Smith basketball card. This is a 1991 collegiate collection card of him in his Georgetown uniform. $3 plus $2.99 shipping. Not too shabby. Only 9 left in stock. So order right now because they're going like hotcakes, as you can imagine.
All there is on the planet.
All there is there. And that's all there is for Charles Smith. There's no jerseys or anything like that. Nobody has like a Timberwolves jersey he wore for a month or a basketball card or anything like that. He's just gone and dismissed forever.
My Christ.
And that's Charles Smith. And
what a story. Good work,
fucked
James.
Up story. Thank you. That was a fucking weird one, wasn't it? That was
ridiculous.
I've been looking at him for a while, and I didn't want to do the story because I didn't want to differentiate between Charles Smiths. Literally, I was like, if I look up this Charles Smith, I'm going to find 400,000 other fucking Charles Smiths. And this time, I was like, you know what? I'm just doing it. Fuck it. We're getting Charles Smith.
Say maybe 5 episodes ago we're going to do Charles Smith, and I was like, he's an asshole. I had no idea.
Yeah, no, he's fine. The Knicks Charles Smith.
He's great.
Good guy. No problem.
Fuck, he cares
helping
about
people.
Yeah.
Good guy.
Gives a shit.
From all accounts of a decent human being who's made the most of his life and has killed no college girls, no co-eds. Our Charles Smith, a little bit different.
Yeah.
Jesus. If you like that story, there is a way to tell us about that. There's multiple ways. First of all, you can go to Apple, iTunes, whatever the hell it is, Apple Podcasts, and you can give us 5 stars. Doesn't matter what you say. Just tell us you're following instructions, following directions. It's all helpful. Really helps drive us up the charts. There's other ways you can help the show.
Yeah.
You can tell us. You can tweet at us at Crime and Sports on Facebook and Twitter, and at Small Town Murder on Instagram, which is all the same thing. At crimeandsports@gmail.com. You can email us there. You can do all sorts of stuff. You can go to shutupandgivememurder.com, where you can find all the merchandise, links to all of that stuff. Our Threadless site has all the damn t-shirts and mugs and bath mats and all the crap you could want. A shower curtain with "You Sir May Fuck Off" on it. Who doesn't want that, damn it? You can get all that stuff. You can wear them to the live shows and buy tickets to those Small Town Murder live shows right there and do that. And also, another thing you can do, which is insanely important, and God damn it, the thing we're most thankful for in the world is you can be a producer. You can go to Shut Up and Give Me Murder and follow the donation links over to patreon.com/crimeinsports, or head over to PayPal and use our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com. And you can make a one-time donation there. And so many people have done that this week, and damn it, I need that list right now. Hit me with it like a Dodge Caravan, Jimmy.
This week's executive producers are Brittany Helm and Larry Peralta. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much.
I really appreciate it. I think it might be Larry.
You're the heartbeat of the damn thing. Thank you.
I don't want to call a lady Larry, but that's
it sounds like she's got a hairy chest if she is a lady. We apologize.
Thank you both very, very much. Chris Norris, Callie Ander, Tyler Sheets, Janae Content, Crystal Lamb donated twice, both ways, Patreon and PayPal.
And the butt, too? Wow.
Yeah, both,
Both ways. Thank you.
Kelly Hedges, Vicky Yano Shaw, Tara Jenkins, Under the Sea Fabrics, Audrey Young, Summer McLean, Bryant Toole, Beth Higgs in the UK.
Hey, thank you.
Kenzeda Crenshaw, Kate Ives, Kevin Dougherty, Laura Yarnell, Simeon Woodvine, Travis Payne, Nicola Mastrantonio.
Oh, nice.
What?
Nicely
Did I do that?
Nicely done.
Karen Edgin, Alex, Belinda Chandler, Jessica Willis, Kensworth Slater. He's up in Minnesota. He'll be there at the Minnesota show.
Hey.
He's got a bum ticker, too. I can't wait to see that guy.
Look forward to meeting you.
I've gotten so many pictures of him in fucking hospitals. I can't wait to see
poor
him.
guy.
Emily Job, Becky Estes, Bex Alice, Zachary Warburton, God, Jesus, Blake Glon, Beth Casto, Allison Hutley, Michelle Terry Photography, Erica Callan, Ross Hetherington, Lorelei Hilburn, Devin Fliss, Hope Johnson, Kevin Gilroy. That's a comic here locally.
Yeah, we know him.
He's terrible. He's a nice dude, though.
Nice guy. Good to see you at the live show.
Elizabeth Jackman. He was there, wasn't he?
Yeah, said hi to him. Good guy.
Good dude. Jill Roth, Kevin Wright, Mike Coziella. Hunter Perry, Hannah Simmons, Rachel Schultes, I think. No. Nicole Vaughn, Kat Power up in New York. Thank you, Kat. Ren Gardner, Danny Trevathan, not the one that plays in the NFL. Catherine Reese, Becky Gardner, Phil Carroll, Philip Chavez, Christy Carlton, Justin Miller. He donated fucking 30 times this week.
Wow, mayhem.
Thank you, Justin. Tyler Atkinson up in Seattle. Was it Seattle? Yeah. No, Portland. God damn it.
Portland, Jimmy.
Jamie Harder, Paul Ruest. Maybe the sweetest one this week is Micah Geets, whose friend donated for her because she doesn't have the money. It was the most
That's amazing. Thank you for giving us. God damn. People that care like that. We're blown away by that, man. Thank you.
Patrick Stockland, Jamie Sullivan, Carmen Glunt, Brendan Abels, Emma with no last name, Janice Hill, Anthony ultra difficult name, Ultramari, I think that's right. Rob Roberts, Mandy Lowry, Matt Dietrich, June Holt, Alexis Ledoux, Jordan Selmer, Cindy Oakes, Rachel Bridge, Derek Deshane, Sonia Meinik, and Gary Howard. You guys are fucking amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you guys. Honestly, that's it. We can't do it without you, and that every dime, everything you do for us is insanely more appreciated than we can express because we're not good at stuff.
Right.
So, but we do appreciate it. And what if people wanted to appreciate you, Jimmy? How do they do that?
You can find me at Wisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. And this week, I apologize. I tried so hard to keep up. It's really starting to get overwhelming.
It's hard.
And that overwhelming is so welcome. So thank you, guys. What about you? Where can they overwhelm you?
You can find me at Jimmy P is Funny, or just copy and paste my last name from the show description and, find me there because you're not going to spell my last name correctly. Let's be realistic here. And that said, guys, we hope to see you at some live shows. Hope to see you in at least Atlanta, Minneapolis, Denver, one of those, East Coast. Come out and see us. Say hello. Jesus Christ, live from the Crime and Sports Studios. We will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.